alright.
Don't let domination express, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse is where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything's alright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller ring we'll never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
Sunlight on my face, gonna make it worthwhile. Feel the good vibes embrace. Step into the street, music in the air. Move into the beat, no worries to declare. We're chasing happiness and never ever can. Living in the moment like a never-ending dance. Chasing happiness, not a single day is planned. Together we are stronger, hand in hand. Laughing with my friends, echoes in the park, joy that never ends. Even when it's dark, stars shine in the night, mirror in our eyes. Everything feels right underneath the skies. We're chasing happiness and never ever can. Living in the moment like a never-ending dance. Chasing happiness, not a single place blend. Together we are stronger, hand in hand. Hand in hand. Laughing with my friends, echoes in the park, joy that never ends. Even when it's dark, stars shine in the night, mirror in our eyes. Everything feels right underneath the skies. We're chasing happiness and never ever can. Living in the moment like a never-ending dance. Chasing happiness, not a single day blend. Together we are stronger, hand in hand. Hand in hand. Hand in hand. woke up with a smile, sunlight on my face, gonna make it worthwhile, feel the good vibes and bright.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, and welcome to SNX Radio and Lightgate. So we got quite an adventure going on. I apologize, it kind of kicked me out there for a second, but I'd like to introduce, I know without further ado, many of you know them, but we got Preston Dennett and Dolly Safran, the lovely Dolly Safran. Preston began investigating UFOs and paranormal in 1986, where he discovered that his family's friends and coworkers were having dramatic, unexplained encounters. Since then, he has interviewed hundreds of encounters and witnesses and investigated a wide variety of paranormal network with MUFON, a ghost hunter, a paranormal researcher, author of 30 books and more than 100 articles on UFOs. I mean, several of his books you'll find on Amazon on the UFO bestseller list. So that's pretty. I mean, he speaks a multitude of German, Portuguese, Russian, Islam. That's awesome. He's also been on Coast to Coast, History Channel, Deep Sea UFOs, UFO Hunters, Ancient Aliens, to say just a few. He's definitely known. His contact information and everything should be too if you look into the description, and I will repost that. Now we got to go on to Dolly Safran. And let me say about Dolly, I have to give Dolly so much credit because she really stands her ground. I watched her do something that I was so impressed by, and just the courage that she has. You can learn so much by listening to her, and if you understand that her background history is just as phenomenal. So I'm going to just go into a little bit. Her first conscious encounter occurred in 1973 at the age of 14 when a UFO landed in her backyard. She was taken on board by the gray extraterrestrials. Over the years, she's had numerous encounters, included being taken to other planets, learning various subjects, and even plotting a UFO. She met multiple ETs and was informed that Earth is on a very verge of the significant changes, and she will go into that tonight because anytime I start to go into it, I always refer this to Dolly because I said she's got this. So her mission as per Gray's is to assist humanity in surviving these changes, and hers are documented under the book Cemetery, a true UFO adventure by Preston Dennett himself. And Dolly has, and I can let her talk a little bit about it, but she's part of the DOD. She was a nurse, like a certified nurse. She's gone through and was a zookeeper even. I mean, she's got just the richest background. So without further ado, I don't know, Preston, if you want to address the chat or not, but you're more than welcome to. I know you like to do that. A lot of them are.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, Coley. Yeah, I do see that the show is streaming on my channel. So, yay, that was a little tricky there. Thank you, Dolly. And yeah, hello to all you folks in chat. I see a lot of familiar names there. Let me see. There's White Dragon and Jay. And who else do we have? Rocco, Brian. Some new names here for sure, too. So, yeah. Hi, all you folks. Thank you for joining us.
If you have not subscribed to Lightgate, now's your chance. So that's Preston and Dolly's channel that they do. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. They've got some amazing interviews on there. So definitely check out their channel and subscribe if you're listening on the side. So definitely. So without further ado, I'll let each of you go through and kind of give. I didn't, get to go into all the details. But Preston, you've got some amazing projects in the work and doing a lot with like people's hometowns, and so that's pretty phenomenal. I don't know if you kind of want to tell everybody a little bit about what your current projects are.
Yeah. I got involved in this as a skeptic. I've been at it now for almost 40 years, 32 books, over 100 articles, got a YouTube channel going strong, and latest projects, my 3 most recent books are, of course, Symmetry, still doing well. It recently popped back up to like number 13 on the bestseller list, which is really cool because it's been almost 2 years since it came out.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, still going strong. We're working on a sequel right now to that. That is really what's taking up most of my time. Other 2 latest books were Not From Here, Volume 5, all about articles I've written actually over the years, exploring the different types of UFO cases, weird patterns, unusual areas that haven't been explored before. Also Humanoids in High Strangeness. Got to give a shout out to that book. I love it. I really embraced the woo in that book because a lot of the times it gets cut out of people's stories. I know this for a fact because I've talked to some people whose stories were in other people's books, well-known researchers, and basically edited out the good stuff, the spiritual stuff, the ghosties, and so forth. But also working on another book about out-of-body experiences. Will be my second autobiographical book. Don't normally write about myself, but I am this time because out-of-body experiences are so much fun. Dolly and I have actually been able to have some together. I've never been able to do that with anybody until I met Dolly, which is just off the charts cool. So
that is very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of where
we definitely want to hear about that. Yeah,
I do want to give because you mentioned it. The UFOs in Your Hometown is a series I'm doing because I really want to underscore and let people know that UFOs are seen everywhere on this planet. It's kind of the goal. And so I put out a challenge. Name your hometown, and anyone who's listening, feel free to do it. Name your hometown, any location on this planet, and I can pretty much guarantee, unless you give me a town that only has 5 people in it, I can pretty much guarantee I can find a case there. I'm saying
the hotspot Earth. There really isn't any location that's not excluded from this. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize that. It's a lot more common than people think. So that's kind of the whole theme of the hometown challenge. My list, by the way, is about 800 locations long. I've worked my way through about 100. So those take a lot of work. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. Sorry, that was long-winded.
No, not at all. And how many have you done so far? Have you checked into it? Do you have a list yet?
Yeah, of my list of about 800, I've done about 100. So some I'm putting a little bit on the back burner because people will put something like Vancouver, and I could write a book on Vancouver. Yeah. Or if someone puts West Hills, that's hard to look up because it doesn't have keywords in it. If you know what I mean.
I gotcha. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're probably going through a lot of these documents. I mean, do you have to go through the library still, or are they mostly online and stuff now where you can access them? You do a lot of research. Dolly said last time you're on that computer for 12 hours a day. I said, well, he's definitely doing something on there. Good.
Yeah, I am. I do use the books behind me, but mostly it's online.
Right.
I've got a room filled with magazines wall to wall.
Research library as well. It's in the other room. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. That's awesome. And Dolly, so without further ado, tell them about you. I mean, I can never do it justice, but yeah.
I am a generational contactee. I remember my first experience at 10 months. I knew what was happening to me, but I had my poor mother was so freaked out about everything that she pretty much tried to just put a lid on it, And I found out very young not to talk about it was better. Even out publicly among my friends and stuff, I couldn't talk about it at all. I got made fun of horrifically. And so I just kept it to myself. And I didn't buy into the fact that I was seeing things. I knew better, but I wasn't connecting all the dots yet. It wasn't one long continuous memory. It was choppy. And so when I was 14, I decided this is it. I have an eidetic memory, and for some reason I'm not filling in the gaps, and I needed to. And I decided the next time something happened, that I was going to bloody well remember it. And that time presented itself in 1973. I was 14. And to make a long story short, I woke up and freaked out because I realized that it was all real and that I was more involved in it than I realized. I had been pushing that away from myself, but I knew shockingly, took me like 3 days to get over myself, to remember everything. I had headaches and everything from it. It was awful at first, trying to let all those memories fill in for me. And we just, my poor mother, because it became me not letting her tell me anymore that I'm dreaming or I'm imagining things. It became, don't worry, I've got this, we're good, And then my dad became involved with me about it. I found out that he was a contactee as well, and what his association with it was, and I just went with that. And it's been an adventure ever since.
What a wild ride. I know I've talked to Preston before about being the UFO person, and how sometimes not everybody wants to be that UFO person. And, in the beginning, how he kind of described it, but it really is, when you think about it, this is such a phenomenal ride that, to not be a part of it, it would be, I can't imagine who I'd be without it. It changes your course of life completely.
Right. It does. It gives you an open window into what everything could be. Literally. There's no vista that's not doable for you at that point. In other words, most people who come away from contact are instantly ignited into everything. I mean, they're thinking about everything. They're learning things they didn't think they would ever learn. The world is becomes an oyster to them, everything. And it's amazing to watch it happen to people. It's amazing. And it's sort of like the sleeper must awaken from Dune, right? We're all kind of sleepers on this planet until you awaken, and it's very cool when it happens,
Yeah, that's what my sister-in-law said. She said it was like being woken up when you're already awake.
Right.
It's one of the questions I always like to ask people, is like, what happened to your life following an encounter? And people will often say, I left a bad relationship, changed my career, I moved my location, started studying astrophysics, became an artist, started doing mediumship. It's the kind of experience that affects you on every level. Physically, I've often said this, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and psychically. So it's every part of your being.
In your experience, I guess I call them superpowers. I don't know but I said every interaction or everything that, you think that it's a reciprocal relationship. But, I would say you kind of walk away with some superpowers, as you say. Like, everybody's kind of have their own thing, but
we all have the abilities, though. That's what's weird about it. What you're referring to is, for every action there is an equal or opposite reaction. And when you start moving energy forward, it's rebounding back to you as well. It expands, it multiplies, and we're born with the equipment. We just have to wake up to the fact that we can use the equipment and focus on it. And when you do, things happen, and things go from paranormal to normal. That's the most important thing to realize about this. This isn't really like Superman or whatever. This is something that we, each of us, have the ability to use and do. And it's very cool. It's like, I've had a couple of ladies tell me, if I knew this when I was a new parent, I would have made sure that my kids got this early, right off the bat. They feel like they missed the opportunity of making sure that children stayed woke, because children are very psychic in the beginning before they're talked out of it, and they would have protected them more into it. And I'm like, well, that's all good and well, but now you can protect yourself through it and get going with it, and then go back to them and say, let's make this a family thing. Let's all wake up together. It doesn't have to be just you alone. It's all of us.
Yeah, that's some
what would you say
out there.
Oh yeah, definitely not. So what would you say to somebody like that just, I'm trying to think, a lot of people are kind of just starting this journey, and I know, like, once you've been in through a while, it's kind of like, but what would you describe and how, like, somebody were to start opening that door, because they'll say, oh, they say everybody has this, but how would you start like that process, do you think, with somebody? What would be their best if they're listening and they're like, wow, this is...
Just to, first of all, sit and think about what your life has already been, where every intuitive moment you've already had presented itself to you. Everybody goes through life having intuitive moments, or huge days of it even. We are all psychic, and we all receive messages all the time. We're talking to each other. You just don't hear it because the volume's all the way down, okay? And realize that you do that. It's miraculous to some people when it does happen, and say, oh, it's so weird. No, it's not. That was normal for you. Should I keep it up? Once you realize that you've got the soup, okay, then you have to like warm it up. And you do that by learning how to delete the things that impede your abilities, okay? You need to get rid of the negativity around you. In other words, quit listening to negative things. Bad horror movies, things that are fearsome, make you feel fear. You need to hear yourself think. In other words, when you meditate, you need to learn how to focus in. You go within to go without. In other words, you have to shut up long enough to hear what's coming in at you. And meditation is really the best first step for that. And there's all kinds of people out there. Preston teaches it. He's got a book about it. Transcendental Meditation. James Monroe is out there, right, Preston?
Robert Monroe.
Okay. I don't want to call him James.
From the Monroe Institute, is that what you?
Yes.
Okay,
that's a
cool.
really good place to begin. And then you can play little games. When you learn how to ride a bike, you know, your parents put training wheels on it right first. Some kids just got to ride the three-wheeler and then the training wheels before they can get up on two tires. Well, learning what your senses are really heightened is the same thing. So get a deck of cards that have colors on it, color circles, and then the ones with all the little wavy lines or the triangles or whatever, and play that game with yourself. Okay, keep a notebook.
That's interesting.
Make sure that you're exercising your ability privately with yourself. When you start to see a change, when you start to see, oh, I'm trending up here. Oh, wow. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And when you hit a certain level of it, like you're about 40, 50% more than you were before, because when you first start, it's going to be 30%. If you hit 80%, okay, then you need to employ with somebody else. In other words, it's like kids going into the schoolyard to play games together. Go find somebody to play the psychic game with. And I want you to remember something. Your psychic ability isn't just hearing things or feeling them in your head. All of your senses play into this. Your psychic abilities are all your senses hyper aware. Smell, hearing, taste, touch, and feeling, you know. Your psychic ability ramps them up into the extreme. So you become clairaudient. You can hear things. You become clairsentient, where you can start to receive messages and transmit them back. You become clairvoyant, where that's almost like a medium, where you're starting to hear everything that's around you and things like that. It's a whole list or different steps that you'll take towards psychic ability. And each one of them has a process that you learn through your senses while you're doing this. It's really important to know that.
I think meditation ultimately is your best tool.
Yeah.
Relaxation is key to meditation. And, there are all kinds of things that a person can do. One thing that I see that really halts people is fear. People live in fear. They're kind of trapped by the past, scared of the future. Just release that. Recognize that we're in a safe universe. The very worst thing that's going to happen to you is passing on. Turns out that's not so bad. You go to a wonderful higher realm, which is great. You never actually die. So leave that fear behind. But commune with nature. Play with your dog. Turn off the TV. Because we have these things just coming at us from all directions. If you can spend 5 minutes in a quiet place and just nurturing yourself, realize your desires, face your fears. Don't procrastinate, because that starts to build up and takes all the consciousness away from you.
Right.
What needs to be done. So you can have some time to just breathe.
right?
And
Grounding is important. Yeah. Get out of your artificial environment. If you're in a high-rise apartment, go outside. Go put your feet on the ground, take your shoes off, ground, sit on the ground, put a blanket, just sit there, go someplace where nature, the energy from our planet is existentially better for you than sitting in a building with Wi-Fi and electricity and electromagnetic wires going everywhere. That's forced energy around you has nothing to do with who you are. It's very damping to who you are. In other words, it can cut you off from your abilities. So go outside, let nature, that's, your heart, your nature, your biology itself, ground to it, learn how to be in it.
I like what Brian Moran says. I have the hardest time trying to meditate, getting my mind quiet is near impossible. I know that I'll lie in bed and I swear a brass band starts playing, no, horns and the whole deal, and then voices, and oh my God, this will fade if you just keep at it. This does take effort.
Yes, you're right. You're right. That does happen too. I remember I would sing over it. I would try, and whatever it was, I was trying so badly. But
mantras work, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I was able to do it after I got advice from you because I was getting so excited when it was getting close. And then you said, no, getting excited. And that's exactly what happened. You were both right, head on that one. Head on. Yes. So I was able to do it. I was very excited. I remembered what somebody looked like and what they sounded like. Mm-hmm. And that's a technique that Preston and Dolly had taught me when I was going back. So phenomenal. And Dolly, you said something very interesting, and this has been the $1 million question, and maybe you can answer it because I take notes, and then every time I get off of here, I always have these moments where I'm like, aha, every single time. You got me on it. You talked about where up until the point that you have maybe consciousness or you're awake, not woke, but awake, you're still whatever, that the paranormal.
You're lucid. Yeah.
Yes, lucid. That the paranormal then becomes the normal.
Yeah.
So where do the paranormal, and if somebody were to ask, because they go hand in hand, how do you explain that?
In reality, there is no paranormal. This is all normal energy all around you. That's where you have to divert yourself away from that false narrative. Okay. You've been given a false narrative. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Paranormal is normal. All energy is normal, and you are part of it. You're swimming in it with everybody else and everything else. And you have to understand that fear makes you think paranormally. Don't do it. That's part of the fear factor. Let it go. Just let it go. If you see
paranormal, paranormal is like a word they gave us to make us think that it's fiction and not real. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, or to make you fear it. People fear ghosts. People fear ET. People fear angels. Some people really fear angels. They fear Satan. They fear all kinds of stuff. It's like, no. This is all normal stuff. You just have to know what it is. Understanding what things are is how you lose that fear, that illusory thinking, don't put things on reality that don't belong there. You're safe in this, and you can't be hurt because we're very, very energetic ourselves, and there's nothing that can hurt you unless you give it permission to. That's the key. Fear gives permission to something else to nail you. Don't do it because you let that energy on you, that you let that bad energy in. Stop doing that. You don't need it. It doesn't belong to you. Okay. Don't give permission. Don't let fear give permission for you to be pounded by stupid stuff.
Yeah, especially don't fear something that's not actually even happening to you.
Right, exactly.
That's true. That's true. I always say to people, why do you want to re-experience something you don't even know how it's going to be? Because it's 10 times worse, when you're going through it. You have to learn. That's a big thing.
There is no such thing as paranormal or supernatural. It's only that we don't understand it. We call it that because we don't fully understand the mechanisms.
Don't know what you're looking at yet. Yeah.
It's the laws of the universe are not being broken here. The laws of the universe are the laws of the universe. So no, it's absolutely natural. And
do you think that it was intended for a gateway, that we were intended to communicate like this way, and it was just something that
absolutely. They said you were born with the equipment. You were supposed to be using it all along.
There we go.
Okay? But those who
Yeah.
want to enslave you will stop you from being who you should be, so that you bend to their will, not your own. You're an autonomous being. Every one of us are, and you have the right to call the ball. That's your life. That's your path. That's what you're doing. We have some rules in corporate in that morality stands with us at the same time. Okay. We're autonomous, but I don't have the right to take your life. I don't have the right to hit you or hurt you or starve you or use you against your own will. What I do have the right to do is live my life. You know, each of us has a right to live our lives. And in doing that, we have to learn that the balance of this is that we are not alone. We're here with everybody else. And that if you help others, you're helping yourself at the same time. Okay. It's a cooperative effort. That's what psychic
We're all one.
Right.
You know, a really easy and good and fun way to access the paranormal is through the dream state. We have a tendency to look at dreams as being, not real. They are real. They actually do happen to you. They're very meaningful. They are part of your consciousness that is actually sending messages to you that are vital.
Yeah.
It's vital to your spiritual growth. Because if you look at your dreams, you'll see an enormous number of them about your desires and fears. But there are some, 10 or 20% that start to have real valid information to them. And the trick is becoming lucid in the dream state. And when you have that happen, and you wake up in the dream, you realize instantly, well, this is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
What's so cool is then you begin having precognition. And that's when you're back awake, you're on Earth, and suddenly you walk into the dream you had probably the night before. It's very cool. I call it waking lucidity because suddenly the world gets very dreamlike. You can see those little sparkles that you have in the dream state, and it's like, come full circle. That's what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Wow. That's it. That is so. You kind of not to use my own experience, but when I was having a hard time doing it, because I said I'd fall asleep during meditation, which I think happens to a lot of people. Dolly said, "Well, turn around and lay in your bed backwards," and I was like,
"Yeah,
lay in my bed."
Don't do
No,
the
because you're
normal.
not going to be as comfortable. Yeah, it's not the normal everyday thing. So people who are listening, I know they're going to be fascinated. Especially coming back to this topic, and you guys. Dolly appears. I mean, you guys have been in the same. Dolly has gone to Preston and been able. She comes in the form of an orb, right? A golden orb. So
sometimes I look golden. I have a really how do I explain this? I don't want to sound weird. I am weird. Okay. When I remote view, I show myself. People see me as a blue orb. Okay, because I can remote my consciousness to where you're at. And if I'm physically in the room with you, with my conscious, you'll see me as a blue orb. But if I OBE toward you, I come in what you can see of me, what I am, but I glow gold for some reason. And not everybody does that. And the only thing I could tell you is that I am using my abilities at high. I'm high ability, and I think that's what you're seeing. It's the volume is turned up, and it all looks gold. Okay, to people who see it. If you're able to see auras, okay, that's a person's energy. Okay, and we change colors. Our auras do different things. If you're sad or sick, you're going to be yellow, gray, umber, things like that, darker. And if you're really, really happy, you're going to come off as blue or purple, pink, red, those things. If you're angry, oh yeah, you're going to show red. Red is high energy, and anger is some of the highest energy you got. If you make a 2-year-old really mad and you've got poltergeists in your house, that's what's happening, is their energy is ramping and they're letting you have it with that. They don't even know they're doing it to you. Okay. But they're doing it to the house. So if you see somebody who's golden, then this is a person who would be associated with high abilities. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's why I look golden to people. It's just that my abilities are ramped up. I got
There's a reason people say green with envy or
Yeah.
These
Emotions play into that.
Oh, wow. That's interesting now that you say that. Yeah. There's a question I see on there from Michael Kennedy. Preston wants to speak on the process of providing or of the remote viewing. Sorry. Which is this. How do you differentiate between remote viewing and like an OBE? Are they kind of the same, or can you kind of? That's one thing I never got into.
They're brothers,
myself.
sisters.
Yeah, they're related. And OBE is when you physically, your consciousness completely leaves your body out, the whole thing. You could be lucid, wide awake. I'm sitting here and I can remote to you wherever you're at. And I can view you from that perspective. I can move my mind to wherever you are. I call it tapping. Okay. I'm not only doing that. If I can get into your vicinity, remote viewing, I can hear you think. Sometimes I can hear you think when I'm online with you. So, by the way, just this kind of weird connection going on there.
No, I get that. Yeah.
But remote viewing is your consciousness is able to see past the physical and go wherever it wants to go, literally in the world of the universe. You can remote view to anywhere. The ability to do that happens in stages. Most people who begin remote viewing, it is something you could do without extending your abilities. Everybody has the ability to remote view. It's like walking. It's one of the first steps we take where you put your consciousness out there to look for things or hear things or see things. It's like a baby who's not with its mother will remote view to figure out where the heck mom went. Literally, that happens in real life. They know it because a baby, if they've taken babies and put them into some part of the house and mama's with them and then they remove mom out of the room and shut the door so baby doesn't know where mama went and move baby to some other part of the house or outside. And it's the weirdest thing, but baby will zero mama in remote view and point its face toward her. Okay. And call her like, I see you, come back. It freaked them out when they first started doing that. It shocked them that infants can do this. Okay.
Yeah, there's
wow, fascinating.
There's a big thing right now about autistic people doing telepathy, the telepathy tapes. Yeah. Dogs know when their owners are coming home, when they're down the road a couple of miles away. Anyone can remote view. It's probably easiest for most people right now in this world. If you're going to bed late at night, probably even better waking up in the morning. Don't get up right away. Lay down there, close your eyes, and just kind of, it's like imagining, but it's a little more intentional. So like go into your living room, sort of imagine what it looks like. Allow the visualization is so connected to psychic ability. Your ability to visualize is crucial. So you can do visualization exercises to sort of strengthen this. Imagine a rose or a deep blue sea or a green forest or fluffy clouds in the sky. This will sort of ignite your ability to start moving through your house, walk around. It's funny because you'll know it when it starts working because you're have this camera and you're really trying to control it and it's hard. It'll swoop down to the floor, sweep up, like, oh my God. But you can absolutely prove this to yourself because you will start getting valid information. You're like, gosh, I wonder if that was true. Yeah. You can go and check it out. Right. It's very cool.
Here's one for y'all to start off with. First remote view for everybody. Are you ready? Wherever you live, pick some place that's within 15 minutes walk from where you're at home. And tell yourself you're going to go there and remote view and view it for 15 or 20 minutes until you get a really good picture of it and write down everything you see about it. Everything, what's on the ground.
Don't try to interpret it. No. Just put the colors and
write things down. Okay. Then you close the book, leave it on the counter, and then walk to that spot. And you go and look at the spot, take a picture of it. Okay. And you will know instantly whether you really saw that or not. Even after, before you take a picture. The picture is so that you bring it home and you sit down and you open your book back up and you verify, click, 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 click.
And it doesn't have to be visual. It can be sounds as well. It can be smells.
Yeah.
Remote viewing works with all the senses like Dolly was saying.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Wow, that's very cool. That is very cool.
You don't need somebody else to tell you you're doing it. You can tell yourself. You can learn for yourself. It's like walking. You're the one moving your feet, right? Same thing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So you can actually see the shift happen.
Yeah, another thing you can do is pick a book off your bookshelf and think, okay, what am I going to see when I open it? Open it. Practice that. You can do that real easily, 10 times a day. It's fun. You're like, well, I didn't get that one right and that. But suddenly you'll get the picture. A picture book works best, but really anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, it's exactly what I, or turn on the, right before you turn on the TV, what do you think is going to be on there? Or just,
oh, I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, you start using your intuition.
There's little things. When someone calls, ask yourself, who is it? Without looking at, before, when the phone rings, don't look at it. Just think, reach out.
Funny thing about psychic ability. Okay, I want you to think about this. You're living in the third dimension and everything has a timeline to you because everything is so gravity heavy here and it's so slow and light is so compact. You don't see all of it. You don't see all the dimensions around you. All right. Your abilities have the ability to see through that. And there are people who are clairsentient. In other words, they know when something's coming at them. They know when something happens somewhere else because they feel it. They don't need space-time to tell them because there is no space-time. Once you open up your abilities, you go right through all of that. I'll give you, for instance, this is a hard one for me to talk about, but I'll explain it through. When 9/11 happened, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was at the vet with my dog when something was wrong. I knew it. We were coming home and I refused to go to the house first. I went to the dock, okay, and sat down because something was wrong. I knew it. And I felt after about 10 minutes of being there, thousands of people go through me like, oh my God, okay, never felt this in my life. I got up and I ran to the house. And when I opened the door, they had it on TV and I saw the second plane hit. And that's when I passed out onto the floor. Now I'm wide open psychic and I can't avoid this. This happens to me, okay? But when you go through normal life, the easy part is you'll be walking down the street and you'll say to yourself, you'll hear it, you'll feel them, you'll hear them talking to you already from their vantage point. I'm right around the block from you. Okay, I'm here. Or you could be in a store and you'll say, you know what, I'm going to take a right today because something's over there that I need to walk into. And boom, you did. Okay. Or you could be walking into a situation that might not be okay for you. And you say, you know what, I need to back off and turn around and go the other way. That's clairsentience. You know when things are going to go well for you, when you're going to meet up with people you love or somebody new you need to meet. I mean, it's that kind of wave of information that's coming at you. It's incredible. I've never, ever been in a time in my life where I haven't been out in public and I will turn towards something really cool and interesting that I wouldn't have because I pick up on it. I hear it. I feel it. I'm going to walk to it. Okay. And I do. Yeah. And it's really cool.
Your impulses are kind of disguised as intuition. Follow your impulses. These will lead you to what you're looking for.
Right.
If you just have a feeling, the impulse is actually intuitive.
Right.
So do you think that's why, like in the schools and the impulsivity and all the ADHD is so negative because it keeps you out of living right there in the moment?
Not a fan of
authentic and genuinely. Yeah. No, that's very interesting.
When we were kids, we didn't put labels on people like we do now.
Right.
And autism is, I think looked upon as a disorder. I'm not so sure it is. It's a different way of thinking. A lot of autistic people are very psychic. Autism in the contactee community is quite a bit more present than you might see in the normal, I don't want to say the normal population, because in a sense I just don't know that drugging our children is a good idea to sort of, I'm not a fan,
No.
People are different. Some are going to be hyperactive. Some people might have short attention spans, but that's certainly something you can develop and work on. Willpower, there's little exercises you can do with willpower too. A jigsaw puzzle is a good example. It takes a lot of willpower to complete something.
One of the things that used to interest me, when I was in college, I did psychology as a minor, and it was an interesting reason why I did it. My father was a genius, okay, and but he wasn't autistic. He had learning disabilities, okay? The biggest one was he could read an entire book and not get anything out of it. But if he read the book and spoke it into a tape recorder, okay, and then listened to it, by God, he got it. And that drove me wacko for a long time when I was realizing as a young kid that he was doing that. And one of the things that I can do is I can pick up a book and tell you whether I'm going to like it or not without even turning the first page because I can feel the energy off that book, okay? Oh, wow. And I asked my dad, do you feel books like I do? I was about 12. And he said, yes, I do. And he said, most of them don't deliver information fast enough for me. And he said, that's why I have to read it out loud because my brain is operating at such a speed that reading it is so slow and laborious that I just go, and I'm going to do it. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, my father never went to college. Okay. Never. And he became a registered architect in every state in this country and did aeronautical engineering and engineering. He's passed all the state boards. First time right out the gate. People freaked out because he never went to college. Never. He read everything to himself. That's how he taught himself. And then he went to places where, as a draftsman, my grandfather put him into drafting and got him in there. My grandfather was an engineer as well, and my mother's father, and who was a genius. He said, look, we're going to help you with the technical parts of this. You learn it, and we'll do it together. And that's how I learned. I was one of those kids who just absorbed everything. But at hearing, I would read the books. I didn't have a problem reading them, but I read out loud to myself, and I never thought about it until I realized when my dad was doing it. And I went, I don't need the tape recorder. I just read it out loud. Boing, I got it. Then I have a daughter who's extremely genius as well, and she had the same blinking disability. And I didn't realize it until she started school. And the teacher said, I can't get her to remember anything she reads. And I was sitting there thinking, oh no, here we go. Because I know she can read. She's been reading since she was 1. Okay. And she understands because we read out loud. Okay. And it's the flow of information into the brain. That's the thing. And I think when you have people who are slow learners or have disabilities, it's not because there's something wrong with the brain. It's that the brain is at a higher level.
Yeah, they're not disabilities. They're different ways of learning.
That's
we have
right.
label called dyslexia.
Right.
But that's hard for people because they have a different way of learning.
Right.
And they found that teaching in school, repetition works a lot better than like they used to do in the old time. They just repeat the words over and over again in a foreign language. They learn that language so much quicker than the modern way of teaching.
Yeah.
For me, I have an amazing memory for songs. Dolly will tell you.
Oh no, yeah. There's not a song you can't remember ever.
It's the weirdest thing. I mean, even commercials, it's embarrassing. I remember 3 commercials for Juicy Fruit Gum.
Wow.
Honest to God.
Did you all have that memory, or was it since you kind of got into all? Because Preston, can you tell everybody how you got into this? Because you weren't an experiencer at first, right? When you first got going, or were you just kind of getting, your feel for things, or?
I think I was, but like a lot of people, I didn't fully click to it or recognize it because it was sort of under my conscious awareness, perhaps because it really wasn't something I needed to know or wasn't ready to know. But yeah, I was absolutely, completely skeptical. And it's so weird because I remember once at age 9, and my sister will verify this. I always ask her like once or twice a year, you remember this? Because I don't want her to forget. She's my witness. We were watching TV in the living room, and there was a game show called Treasure Hunt, which, I'm like, that lady in the audience, they're going to pick her. I just knew it. And sure enough, they did. There were 3 canisters. One had the flowers in it. You had to pick the flowers to play to guess which money was in the box. There was 50 boxes on the stage, and one had a huge check. I'm like, it's the canister on the far right. And she picked it. And then I'm like, the check is in box number 56. I don't remember the number, but it was, I knew the number. And she didn't pick it. But then they opened the box, and sure enough, we just laughed and laughed and laughed. I had no idea that was psychic.
He still does that. Don't let him kid you around. He still does that.
I bet.
There were little clues.
Yeah.
I did have a missing time incident, but I didn't recognize until as I was an adult. Because, with 6 kids in the family, you don't miss lunch. I missed lunch. I was so mad. I was in my room. They said, you weren't there. I'm like, yes, I was. I said, no, we looked for you. So I wonder about that. Your
physical body was gone then, too.
I'm guessing.
Wow.
So little things like that. But yeah, I was so skeptical that I didn't want to hear it. I was very into science, really trying to verify what I could prove. And that completely collapsed when I found out that my brother had seen a UFO. My sister-in-law saw grays after seeing a UFO. The lady I worked with, her whole family saw UFOs, and her daughter started getting taken on board. So it hit home literally, and my whole belief system collapsed. My family was divided. My dad thought I had lost my mind. So did my older brothers. Mark, the one who saw UFO, he of course knew. But then I started having out-of-body experiences, which is no coincidence, because this is what happens. Contact opens you up. And then my dad really lost his mind. It's like, I should have taken you to church.
I'm glad you came back to the out-of-body experience part. Well, I had a conversation with somebody once. They said that they experienced what they could call an out-of-body experience. They were playing a video game. Next thing you know, they were looking at their body. It felt like things were clicking and shifting. Next thing you know, he's playing a guitar. But his concern was, as he was around people, how can he be shifted out of his body and still interact and do things like be on autopilot?
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I've talked to people who've had out-of-body experiences while driving. Freaks them out. They're looking at their car down there and like, oh my God. We have this ability. It's when we are in a focused state, we have a tendency to dissociate. Right. It's very much a hypnotic state. So it's conducive to this. We have this ability to basically bilocate.
Yeah. But you got to remember that your consciousness is fully 100% aware 24/7. Never stops. Okay. It's who you are. Your physical mind, once you make the connection to your physical mind is watching what your consciousness is doing, because your consciousness is what's talking to you to be you. It's your programmer. Your brain, your physical mind is your computer, and your consciousness does that. Sometimes people get locked into their own head and they get cut off from their consciousness, and it can make them a little crazy. Okay. Remember that remote viewing and OBEing are connected. Okay. It's the same thing. Just depends on how lucid you are and where you are and what you're doing. And yeah, you can be fully conscious a lot, sitting up and doing stuff, and suddenly you're not in your body anymore, but the connection is still there to your physical mind, and your physical mind is watching you do it. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
most people connect out-of-body experience with near-death experiences, and they think that's what it is. So yeah, that clears it up for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, one of my experiences, this makes sense now. The first one I had, I could describe it. I could see myself, but then when I was there, I was restrained, and I could see them, but I could see myself. I was like, how? But that right there just kind of
seeing yourself out of body and looking down at yourself, looking at yourself.
Yeah, that's weird as heck, isn't it? It's like,
yes. And I never put it together, because I'd always tell people, I'd be like, no, listen, I could see myself, and then myself could see,
so your consciousness really were having a good day. Okay. And you were your consciousness was telling your physical mind what it was looking at outside of your body. And
there have been people on this planet who are so advanced, they not only go out of body, but they bilocate and absolutely can interact physically with other people.
Yeah.
Padre Pio basically never left his church in, I think it was in Spain, but he was seen all over the world.
Yeah.
That was him. He was working miracles and there's a whole number of people who have actually done this. Yeah. And that is essentially an out-of-body experience on steroids. Yeah. Really, it's called bilocation.
Yeah. Oh, really? It's okay, Preston. You remember when I visited you in LA after you showed up when I was in Florida? It's a type of bilocation I did. I physically showed up in your room. I have the ability to manifest out as physical as I can. Okay. That's why you saw me. Remember when I stomped on your floor?
Yeah, I was watching TV and all of a sudden, kabam! I'm like, what the heck? And I'm looking around. I couldn't see her.
Noisy neighbor upstairs.
No,
there's no one upstairs. I pinpointed this. It came from right in front of me. That was what was so weird. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the heck that was.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Dolly called me up later, like, did you hear anything? I'm like, I did. What did you do?
Stomped on your floor. Yeah.
That's great. Like, I love that. What a confirmation. Yeah. Like, what confirmation.
You have physicality. When you're OBE, you're still a physical being. The energy that you are has weight. It's physical. All light has property. Okay. And so when you get good at it, you realize that, and you can work it, Yeah,
you have to gather enough prana and vital energy to I know technically how to do it. I haven't been able to do it, but I'm beginning to understand the mechanics behind it, which is always what I like to do, because I'm like, how is this happening? I need to know.
Yeah. What did you figure out so far? Like, just
yeah, you can absolutely do it, but it's connected to, it's like prana or chi. There's an energy, a vital energy that runs through the universe, and you can draw on it to sort of manifest. And there are people, I know I've talked to people, Marilyn Hughes, she's an out-of-body lady who's quite well known, got a bunch of books on it. She talked about how she was able to move objects on a couple of occasions. For a year, when I first started going out of body, I would set up a pencil on the end, so it's just really easy to push over. Never could do it. Still haven't done it. Kind of got.
Yeah, but you walk around the house at night, OBE, and you show yourself to the dog all the time. The cats too. Yeah. And they will react to you. And a couple of times I've witnessed you actually pet the dog and her respond to you petting her. And I was like, oh, he's figuring it out, So you're working on it. I see you doing it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of the first things I do if I manage to get out of body is I'll run.
Just go for the animals.
Dolly, are you there?
And so, or do you see them differently, or do you see them in the same environment, and it just looks like, what does the environment look like?
No, I look really young and buff, and I have beautiful. I used to have such great hair. I'm like yours. Beautiful long hair.
Buff, yeah.
And yeah, I used to work out, and so I'm a little bit older now, but when I'm out of body, I look good.
That's where you go, young self.
I know that. I'm coming all fully makeup, hair done. Then that would save me some time for sure. Yeah.
How you see yourself.
Someone asked me once, do you wear clothes when you go out of body? Because I showed up at someone's house in my underwear. Like, oh my God. And I looked and I'm like, no, I actually wear a button down shirt. And I actually undressed out of body just to check out my body. I'm like, yep, it's all there. It looks good.
Wow.
And Robert Bruce said, if you stare at your body long enough, it will actually disappear and you can turn into an orb. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. But I held up my hands when I was out of body, and sure enough, they faded right away. And I turned into an orb. And it was so cool. Because when you do that, your perception goes, it's different. You start seeing 360 degrees. And you can, it's a weird step up to just, I don't know.
So describe that. What do you see in 360? Like, just
you see other dimensions. You see outside this dimension. You become part of the whole thing at one time.
You see in all directions. You see into inward and outward and past the veil.
Right.
And yeah.
So what does it look like?
Everything at once.
Oh,
literally.
Sparkly. And
wow.
There's no words because it starts to move beyond form as we know it. So it's like geometric shapes that have no meaning. I mean, you can't really describe it. The energy.
Yeah.
You probably don't have the name for it yet. I mean, there's probably not been a name for it.
When I was young, the very first time I realized that this was happening to me and that I was perceiving it, I was lucid in the middle of the night. Okay, I really don't sleep. And I was OBE, and I was thinking about what I was going to go do. And then all of a sudden, I decided to look around my room. Okay, and I went into dead shock because there were lots of stuff going on in that room that I had never seen before. And there were other beings in the room with me, and they live with me and were like, hey, she sees us, oh my God, and it took me a good couple of days to work that one through in my brain, because you realize that we're not alone, not in any way. You see people that you love, you see people you don't think that they're there. You see vistas and worlds, and time lose all grip. It's gone, no more time. And you see things, just energetically going through.
You can do this yourself. Just sit very still in your easy chair, relax as much as you can, breathe deeply, and, stare ahead. You can start to see the energy in the walls. You can start to see little lights. Your peripheral vision is particularly perceptive to, spiritual phenomena.
Yeah.
So if you just sit still, completely still, not moving around at all, that's a trick, and it's really hard to do because you start getting itches, and you really want to start wiggling it. You feel all these really major and almost anxiety, but just move past that. That's a stage you get past, and you're like, okay, and then you start seeing stuff, orbs, and it's the coolest thing. It takes 5-10 minutes of just sitting still, 20 if you're beginning. But But,
Then are you looking past? I guess when I go into like my state where I see spirits, it's almost like I do get really quiet. People can tell if they've known me long enough, but I look almost like I'm looking past them, and that's where it all kind of
because you lose the dimensional space. They're in a separate dimension from you. They're not in. We're not
using your inner senses, your inner vision. You know, we all have, for every outer sense we have one that's absolutely a psychic sense that is connected to it.
Right.
But
that's fascinating. Oh, sorry.
I've heard you use the words remote viewing and out of body experience, but something you haven't said was astral projection. It's just the same thing, just different terms.
Astral projection is the first way they explained out of body. Okay. And because you're astrally projecting your consciousness out, only they used to refer to your soul. You're astraling out. What's funny about that is that's not exactly how it's happening. You're already out. You're just not hanging in the body. You're projecting here from source. Okay. You've projected down into this body to be in this body when you're here, and you're totally released from that connection when you die by, your silver cord disappears. You're gone, but you're already in source. That's why you immediately go right back to it. Okay. The connection is, so, you hear me say sometimes you have to go within to go without. That's what I mean. You have to go within what you're living in to go without. But it's the same thing from source. Your consciousness is already gone within to go without as well. It's a weird way of looking at things.
We have the physical body, the etheric body, the astral body, the Buddhic, causal, mental, atmic. I might have those in the different order, but basically, according to Eastern tradition, there's 7 bodies.
And
but
it's not,
the truth is, it's one body that reaches into source. So when you're going out of body, what you're basically doing is just kind of moving your awareness into that part of you that is in that dimension. You're not going out of body. So this is why it's absolutely safe. It's 100% safe. It's as safe as sleeping. You're already doing it. Don't worry about getting possessed, going too far out, getting lost, or any of that nonsense. I scoured the literature.
So let's crack one right now. So when somebody says that you have to be chained to it and that you have you believe that's just nonsense. That's just tactic, right?
No, it's an energetic connection. When your mother and father create you, okay, the moment of conception, your energy is already there, okay, and it's now you're coding your own DNA, as a matter of fact, into this body. Your ethereal body, your consciousness has an ethereal body, okay, and it's indwelling now, and it's creating this, and it connects to the brain, and it pre-programs your brain with itself. Babies wake up conscious. They know who they are. They do. Not everybody remembers that. If you did, you would be amazed. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So you're already there, all right, but you've come from source to get here. It's not the cord from your body out, it's source cord to you, to your consciousness, okay? Your body holds the cord as well. We perceive it as that because you're energetically connected to the energy source in your heart. That's where the node is that you're indwelling, okay? You're not indwelling in your brain, you're indwelling in your chest and your heart. They've actually identified a part of the heart that they don't understand what it's doing. It's the energy source, and they think that's exactly where your consciousness is lying, and they've almost proven it 100%. And it is. Your DNA is in there too. You have the DNA also in your heart from your mother, your grandmother, your grandmother, 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 grandmother. It's the female thing. Males have it as well, and it's DNA that goes through all the way through human history, all of it, all of us, and it's coded. And it's your ethereal body, your consciousness that carries that code, and it knows where it's going to go. That's why we get to choose where we're going, because we know the code, we're going to it. If you think about it, everything is coded. All energy is coded. All matter is coded. All of it. DNA is a code. And when you unravel the DNA and look at it, you go, wow, because it's got everything in it. We have the code of grass in our DNA. We have the code of bonobos and bananas. We have the code of kangaroos and whales and all of it. It's all in us as well. All our DNA carries all those codes. You got to ask yourself, how the heck did that happen? Well, it did, because we're all alive. We're all coming from source, and we all carry the code when we come here. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not that complicated, and it's a big idea, but it's not that hard to understand. You are who you are. The only thing that happens to you when you physically pass away, when you lose the body, the ego of the body doesn't go with you. Everything that you loved, everything that you know, everything that you learned, all the wisdom of everything goes out with you, and you remember who you were. But that stupid ego, the physicality of yourself, stays behind. Okay, you lose that. That physical body makes your physical mind will do weird things, and it affects your body. Okay. DNA is supposed to run who you are. And when you allow things like hate and fear and murder and aggravation, you're changing the code in this body, and your consciousness is like going, stop, don't do it. This is what karma is. Karma is you repairing your DNA so that you lose all that stuff and become wise enough to let it go. That's what Buddha kept saying. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Don't keep this stuff because it's physically damaging you. And it is, because it affects your DNA. And when you pass away, that DNA is altered. And when you come back, you still got to deal with that DNA that you altered in a previous life. Ooh. That's the connection.
Yeah, we don't even understand DNA. When Watson and Crick first discovered it, they were both absolutely convinced it was designed. And they thought evidence of extraterrestrial intervention. I think to an extent, that's probably a more correct interpretation than it was evolved here through a series of evolutionary accidents.
Yeah, or all the junk DNA they claim we have. I'm sure that really...
It's not junk.
They
threw that theory away too, just recently. Yeah, we're only beginning to understand how incredible DNA is. It's absolutely amazing. And what's really interesting when it, going just to the ET subject is they're all humanoids. They're all very much like us. So DNA is throughout the universe.
Yeah, we're all essentially all the same thing. When they say you are us, we are you, and we are all one, they're not joking around. That's real. All of us have the same DNA. It just dials up differently from places.
I don't know what back tombs are. I have not heard that term. What do you guys think about back
so many
tombs?
people have claimed, they dream through just collective hysteria. I'm not sure. Yeah, if Brian, I think he's still on here, Brian Morgan, if you could give us a little bit more information. I found it fascinating, but I don't know what those are either. If they're supposed to be, but we can wait for that one. That's a definitely interesting thing. Yeah.
I want everybody to understand something. There is no such thing as a matrix. Okay, reality is reality. Your consciousness is reality. Okay, 12 dimensions is reality. The universe is a reality. We're all in reality together. You're not dreaming. This is real. In the third dimension, it's very real, because this physical body can get hurt. This physical body can take damage. This physical body can do all kinds of weird things, including pass away. Okay, we're only here for a short time. In the span of all time, or no space time, the numbers are greater than when you're here. You're only here for a spit in a bucket. That's it. You're a traveler coming through, passing through, right? Mm-hmm. So when you think about what you're doing here, half the people on this planet are wasting their time with things that don't matter,
that's so true. True.
When you use your abilities, that doesn't become a part of your issue. You start to, when you wake up, you realize, oh, now I know what I need to do. Now I know what I have to do for myself, because it becomes healing for you to know that, oh, I have not paid attention to this. I really need to deal with it. If each of us healed ourselves, we would all be fine all at the same time. That's a big deal. That if we all did what was necessary for each one of us, we would then operate at optimum and be willing to employ wisdom with one another while we're here together. And it's an important thing to learn. It's really important. And we would do so much for ourselves. It's like, how do I explain this? When you're riding on the merry-go-round and there's the brass ring, and you're trying to reach for it, and when you get it, do you know what you get when you get the brass ring? You get to go to anywhere in the carnival. People don't remember that. They forget. You get to play all the games. You get to see all the stuff. You get to go see everything in the carnival because you've got the brass ring. That's the treat. It's the same thing with your abilities. You use your abilities. You've just been handed the keys to the kingdom. Only you gave them to yourself because you can't. And it opens up the kingdom to you and you go, wow. And you don't stop because it's that good. You know?
Yeah.
Well, people are too busy being entertained instead of wanting to learn. You know, there's so much entertainment, Dolly.
I know. Well, it's not really entertainment; it's training.
It is. Yes.
It's
So, I mean, all the there's too much like stuff. People that want to be entertained instead of trying to learn things.
Right.
They're too distracted. Yeah. It's too bad.
Another thing you really want to do is learn to control your thoughts a little bit, because thoughts are things. It's a cliche phrase, but when you go out of body, you will absolutely be demonstrated this. Because if you think it, I mean, there are certain places you will absolutely manifest every single thing you think. It's like a laser cannon on the other side.
Right.
Emotion is so powerful on the other side. So these are all things it's a great place to work on your issues. You know, because when I went out of body, I would get really angry. I would get extremely lustful. I would get really hungry, and I would have to deal with this, work through it. And the lust part was all kinds of fun. Don't get me wrong. I would create feasts of food too. It was funny. I built a table would appear to me. And I'd have brownies and chicken nuggets and sour cream and onion potato chips and Neapolitan ice cream and a glass of orange juice. And I would gorge over and over again until I just got over this. It's called the desire body.
Yeah.
So these are things you go through when you go out of body. And
there's irony in Pandora's box.
I saw a question in chat, which I do want to just address, like, how do you protect yourself? First of all, recognize that when you're out of body, you cannot be physically harmed. It's impossible.
Right.
It's really hard to sort of get that into your head when you see stuff coming at you. But you can occasionally encounter negative entities. And I've had my share of a few of them. And initially, I just ran. I went right back to my body. And finally, I learned to just hold my ground, project kind of white light and love. And ultimately, if they're very negative, that's going to drive them insane.
Right.
But the best thing you can do is, just go to the higher realms. Go to where we all go when we die. All you have to do is kind of appeal to a deceased loved one or a spirit guide, and they will take you there. And there you will not ever meet a single hostile entity. You won't see a shadow. Everything is light. There are no shadows there. It's the coolest thing. It's the most beautiful place you could possibly imagine. Imagine a rose made out of rubies and emerald trees, literally, in diamond flowers. That's how beautiful it is, as if everything is made of jewels with an inner light. And you're absolutely safe. You may encounter hostile entities, but that would only be on the lower realms, which I've explored all of them. Well, not all of them, but I did a lot of exploring of the lower hellish, what I would call hellish realms.
So are they the ones below Earth, I guess?
No, not below Earth.
No?
It has nothing to do with it.
Right next to us.
In a different dimension, yeah. It's
okay.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, but you're talking about, okay, that makes sense.
It's more realms,
with us.
dimensions, different realms in those dimensional realms. One of the first things that I learned when I was I was really little, I think it was about 4 or 5, and something very dark and sinister started chasing me around. And it kept holding me in a place that I didn't know where the hell I was. Okay. And it kept chasing me around saying, you belong to me, blah, 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 telling me every lie I could think of. And after a little while, I mean, it was like a whole week of this over and over and over again. I told my great grandmother, who was old and knew what to say to me. And she said, turn around and tell it to get away from you now. And she said, do it now. I want to see you do it now. Tell it to go away. And I did. And she said, now, if you see it again, you know what to do. Oh, I knew what to do. It showed up. It did show up. It wasn't chasing me this time. It was staring at me. And there was this huge staircase in this house where we were at. And I pulled the knoll post off. And I held it in my hand. And I said, you're done. And it looked at me. And I said, I'm serious. You're done. I'm going to take the house down around your head. and you're going to go away. Okay. And I chased it with the newel post in my hand because you're capable of anything, OBE. Okay. Anything. And it ran, it left. And I took that house down stick by stick by stick. I took it down. Okay. I didn't leave it standing. It was no longer part of my existence. And I've never been bothered by it ever again. And I realized that my friends used to tell me, you're a force to be reckoned with. And I always wondered why people treated me a certain way when I was growing up. She said, everybody's afraid to tell you anything. And I was like, why? And she said, because we're afraid how you're going to react. I said, what do you mean? And she said, you're the biggest goody two-shoes on the planet. I said, no, I'm not. And they said, yes, you are, because you won't stand for anybody to do anything wrong. And I was like, oh. I said, well, I don't know how to tell you what that is for me. I'm not going to let you be an idiot. That's for sure. Don't even try it. Not in my presence. He said, that's what we're talking about. We're not going to tell you we're going to go do something stupid because you're going to go, no. And you're strong enough.
I love it.
And I was like, oh, okay. And that played in my head. I was like, oh, all right. And I just took it through life that way. And that's how we should be. We should be able to stand up to stupid stuff. We should be able to stand up or understand that if you do this, this is going to happen. That's where for every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction comes in. And you can already project yourself. Oh, no, I'm not learning that lesson. I've done that already. No, go have a nice day.
Reminds me of that TV show, What Would You Do, with John Quinones. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yes, I have.
People, and it always brings joy to my heart and restores my faith in humanity when people stand up to someone who's doing something wrong.
It's awesome when we see people doing that. It's like, yeah, I'm on your side. I'm walking with you. We're together.
No, absolutely, will stand up for you.
Right.
Do the right thing. It's not that hard.
You're right. And I've seen, and you say walk the talk, but I've seen both of you, and I've seen Dolly take a stance on stuff where I like applauding her. She can't say, but I like, no, I'm applauding you. And if there's somebody that, then I'm going to put them down and they're not coming on this one because you both are so reputable and you've taught, just over the years I've got to see all this. So yeah, I'll mark them. They won't see my show either. So I just, you're not just talking it. You guys are both walking the talk.
Walk in love, walk in joy.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you should live.
You're not doing anyone any favors if you're not telling them the truth. You're actually damaging them. Yeah. Ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's
to their benefit,
It is. And, I said the growing pains are real, lessons learned. It all goes along with it. But I too, would want to stop here just to take a little break for the radio side. So if it's okay with you guys, we just reconvene and we'll questions, chat. If you have questions, put them all in caps so we can get them out to Dolly and Preston. This is a wealth of knowledge right here. So definitely take advantage of that and ask those questions. So, and we will be back just shortly. I'd say probably just right under the 5-minute marker. So we will see you then. So until then, we're gonna.
Of our galaxy. Of our galaxy. And the horizons, our spirits ignite. stories are told. Unraveling the mystery, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside, in the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
On the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller ring will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
And welcome back to SNX Radio. We are live with the lovely Dolly Safran, and Preston Dennett here. So we've hit some really fascinating topics, and I'm really excited to get back to it. So we had talked a lot before about out-of-body experiences, how you get there, what it's like, and things like that. So I wanted to, I guess definitely touch on the topic again. And then I also, for the experiencers out there that have had questions, and this seems to come up a lot because our experiences in around, I believe, I think mine was maybe, it was a few years ago where things kind of stopped. I don't know, like the ETs, the UFOs, are just how I experienced them in general. So I definitely wanted to have Dolly touch on that too. So
yeah, Michael asked a question in chat. We were going through the chat, so we're going to answer that.
Yeah,
but there's somebody, I want to clear something up for everybody because it's a little bit of confusion about this. Mm-hmm. How can you OBE at the same time while you're driving a car? Well, your physical mind already knows how to drive the car. It's doing just fine on its own. Okay. Well, your consciousness is OBEing and watching everything, and you're in connection with that. So you sort of like got a rear view mirror, front view mirror, and a side view mirror that you're looking at while you're driving, but your physical mind is still going to keep you safe and drive the bloody car. It's not going to kill itself on purpose. No way. That's not going to happen. Where driving is an autonomic, comes autonomic with us. Our abilities as drivers kicks in throughout our life, and we become very good at it. Most of us, anyway. And some of us get stupid, but if you're OB and while you're driving, your physical mind is in control of the car. No problem. Don't be afraid of that. Just enjoy the experience if it happens to you. How's that?
That's great. Yeah, that's so true. Sit and try not to fear it. That's, show fear to something.
Okay, so Michael Kennedy asked a very important question, and I want to address it. Okay, let me get to it. I'm pulling it back. Okay, he says, topic for the guests. What is the single most pressing threat to our civilization? Well, the single most pressing threat to our civilization is literally whether we respond to what's coming at us with knowledge and forethought. In other words, are we ready for what's coming? And what's coming is a CME that is so powerful, it's going to down our grids worldwide. That is the most pressing threat we have. And it's any day now. It's from right now. It could happen any minute. We're overdue. And most people are not aware that this is going to take our grid down. They're not ready. The governments of this world, not the governments that you see running, but the military industrial complex governments, which is worldwide now, know it's coming, and they have prepared for it. That's why they have all those underground bases and bunkers. That's why they have seed depositories. That's why they have the ability to survive, they think, in this threat. Hell, they've got 2 bombers underground. They've got a presidential plane underground. You don't think that new presidential plane that's supposed to be coming out is really going to come out, do you? It's already underground. They made 2 of them. They literally made 2 of them. One is underground already, and one might come out, but I don't think it'll come out during Trump's presidency. I don't think we'll get to that point because this is soon. Most of us could survive this downing of the grid, but we have to learn how to live without power. It's going to take us down 10 miles straight into the Earth's core. And all these guys who think that they can Faraday away from it are wrong. It's that powerful. Our magnetosphere is down 40%. It's going to hit hard, and it's going to screw everything up for everybody, including the military industrial complex. They believe their own stupidity. I really think that for sure about them, because there's no way they can understand how big this is going to be. If you live in a house full of electricity, you got propane tanks and all kinds of stuff, you need to really not be around when that happens. In other words, we need to be walking away from that already. If you're going to have a house, live in a house with no electricity in it, no propane tanks outside, learn to live sustainably, go back off grid in your thinking and learn how to take care of yourself. And we should have been doing this for the last 100 years, but they haven't let us. They've pushed us toward all this other technology because they thought they were going to beat it. And, but that's the threat. That's the big threat. That's CME coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And so can you explain how that is affecting the electromagnetic field to where the UFOs cannot make it into this atmosphere right now?
Well, our sun, we haven't, what started the whole thing is about 150 years ago, 200 years ago, give or take a few years. Our solar system in our galaxy started to go through an electromagnetic current sheet. It's majorly huge. And we started at the beginning of it. And now we're practically in the middle of it right now. And it's getting worse and worse. What it does is it excites our stars. Every solar system within this magnetic current sheet field that we're all going through in the spiral arm of the galaxy where we're sluicing through it is having huge problems. It's caused all our poles to shift, including our sun. Most of our planets have already changed their poles. We're still in the process of it. Mars is the only planet that won't change poles, and that's because it's dead core. It has no magnetosphere, nothing, no poles, none, right? It is the pole change that's dropped our magnetosphere's resonance. In other words, it's not as solid or tight as it should be. We're 40% down. So that's letting tons of gamma radiation in at us. Our sun is now in solar maximum because of all this going on, and it's popping off more coronal mass ejections. We have more solar flares. We have more coronal hole energy streams coming at us as well. It's been ramping and ramping and ramping. We're now due for an X-class flare in over 100 that will take our grid out worldwide. It is the worst situation you could possibly imagine. In 1859, we got a taste of it. We had a pretty intact magnetosphere then. We were putting up, wires for telegraph. Okay, we had telegraph stations. They were running underground wiring for telegraph too, but it was only in the baby stages. Before that, they knew they were going to do it. They were planning it, but it hadn't happened yet. And it's probably a good thing they didn't have it, because it would have destroyed them as well. It would have done all that work for nothing. Every telegraph wire worldwide, including all the telegraph stations, melted and burned to the ground. Some telegraphs, which are pretty big machines, were still trying to operate. They were still energized. And if you touch them, you get electrocuted by them. That's how bad this CME was. And we still had a magnetosphere then. And it was up in the X-class range, and it was pretty big. We're 40% down now. And what happens is when that CME hits us, it's grid down, because every wire, everything metal, all of it is going to go melt and burn. And your propane tanks will explode. That's an energized bomb sitting in your yard. Okay. All nuclear plants are going to melt down when this happens. This is why I don't like nuclear power plants, period. Because there's no backup energy to save you from the rods melting down, because it's all dead at that point, and all that nuclear fissioning material is just going to go. Our field lines, think of it this way. We have two poles, right? One on top and one on bottom. The poles at the top, the energy goes like this, out, it spirals out, okay, around the earth. The one on the bottom spirals up this way, and they're cohesive. Now, there's not just that energy floating around us. There's a core. We have a magnetic core in the center, and all that energy is following the energy of whatever pole it's sitting at. So the northern hemisphere, that energy is going out this way to the sides, okay? And the southern hemisphere as well, in a different direction, but they're cohesive lines of energy that are following a path, because it's generating. Have you ever looked at a plasma ball? It's real chaotic, isn't it? It's because there's no center core in it at the top of the poles, and at the center pole, it's only got one pole on it. So it's just jumbling all around. Well, when our poles are changing, that's what you're seeing happening to the earth. They're all jumbling and going crazy. All those, they have no cohesion to them. ET can't fly here because their technology is magnetic resonance, and they fly on the magnetic field lines. And when I fly, I'm either positively charged or negatively charged. If I'm flying on a negative field line, I'm positive, so that I can stay above it. If it suddenly changes, I change polarity with it. I can see that psychically, and I resonate with it, and I can change the polarity of the craft. It's so chaotic now, though. It happens so fast. There's not even you almost can't even see it happen. It just goes, and there's suddenly no line, or a line that was here, and now it's over here. It goes from here to here, okay? Wow. And the craft goes boom, it drops, it loses everything and hits the ground. We're not flying in atmosphere here with both our fields of protection. We have an outer field and an inner field. We're not flying with our outer field inside atmosphere, because it would fry you like a hotcake on a griddle. You would fry. So we're not using nuclear power at that point. They have a type of nuclear power. It's not like ours at all. We're on batteries. And so it just makes it easy for us to just go and die. All those crashes that you've seen over the years is exactly that. Our magnetosphere breaking down, losing cohesion with the field guidelines, and we're crashing. Okay. We woke up one day and went, we're done. We're done. That's it. We can't do it anymore. We have to back off. And they left the solar system. They've gone way far away from this, because they cannot, it's just impossible for them to be here.
All right, I want to go back for a second to the greatest threats facing us.
Okay.
Because I have a comment on that. I agree with Dolly, don't get me wrong. But I also think, one of the greatest threats facing humanity is, honestly, immorality, lack of education, delusion. People really need to take a good, strong look at that, because that is what is choking our forward progress. This is one of the main reasons why ETs have not had open contact with us, because we are warring, because we are killing each other. We're doing heinous things to not only each other, but ourselves and this planet. This all begins with education. This is going to be a long road to recovery, to doing the right thing, lifting ourselves out of delusion, moving past fear, greed, hate, divisiveness, and just doing the right thing. We need to learn morality all over again. This is something that Dolly was taught And I see this from other contactees at a very early age by the ETs, the importance of morality. They are not happy with us. This is absolutely why we've not had contact. If we were a different society, we would have open official contact. We would have been lifted off by now. So
Right.
this is something we can all personally work on.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. So how do you think that we should proceed forward with all of this? These are
Learn, start resourcing your existence. In other words, learn how you can get enough food for a couple of years. Learn to keep water available for you. Learn how to live off grid. Learn everything that is learnable, know all that is knowable. Get every resource book you could possibly find. Don't download it from the net onto your phone, because you're not going to have your phone anymore. You need hardbound books, okay? Yeah. You need to learn how to can food. You need to learn how to cook on pots that aren't going to melt when the CME hits, You have to learn how to build a fire. You need to learn how to build a structure that you're going to survive in without freezing to death or frying. You need to learn how to grow your own food. You need to know how to store.
How we used to live 150 years ago, quite easily. Yeah. I mean, maybe not easily, but people lived this way very successfully.
Have you ever?
It wasn't that long ago.
What?
No.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that we lived.
No, hell no. My great grandmother used to talk about what I grew up on a farm. Okay. I grew up knowing how to do this stuff. I learned how to hunt. I learned how to fish. I learned how to grow food, kill animals, whatever, anything to eat, survive, or whatever. And my great grandmother taught us how to heal ourselves and do all kinds of things. I grew up this way. This is part of my upbringing, but I am unique in that I had a great grandmother who knew how to do it and taught us all. See what I'm saying? That information got passed down. We've been so fractured as families and torn away from reality that we haven't had this learning. Now, I want you to understand that there is plenty of resources out there all over the internet right now. You can't look at the internet and not see somebody say, I got the old world home, how to do this, and I know how to do that. And here's the book. Here's the healing herb books. Here's the how to grow chickens. Here's how to cut a garden in. Here's all. I put this stuff up on my Facebook all the time. I'm always throwing stuff up. Here you go. Look, take it to heart. This is coming. Learn how to freeze dry your own food. Learn how to put your own food up. How I can glass eggs. That's saying something. You get 50 eggs and you glass them, and they last 25 years that way. Okay, you make a brine and you put it in there, and they're just as good in that 25-year period. And there are
all kinds of survival techniques that are pretty easy to learn. Did you know that you can get water by just going outside in the morning with a towel and getting the dew off the grass? You can get a whole gallon of water in about 15, 20 minutes if you don't have a water source. And in fact, if it's worse than that, get a plastic bottle, a water bottle, fill it with leaves and put it in the sun. After a couple of hours, it'll have a couple of inches of water in it. Right. These are really good little survival tools.
Or learn how to clean water from a stream.
In every person's area. You can garden on a little windowsill. I know a lot of people are stuck in cities, and it's if you can move out of the city, that would probably be.
You don't want to be in the city when that CME hits. You do not. Everybody needs to think about
community. Talk to your neighbor, because we're definitely going to, when there's a tragedy, living in California, earthquakes would hit. Yeah. It was amazing to see how everyone would come together and talk in the streets and camp in their front yard, and everyone would finally get to know each other. I think that is definitely something that will be beneficial moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. People, if we learn how to trust our neighbor again, or get to know our neighbors again, and kind of come up with who's who and what's what. But yeah, that's huge. That sense of community.
Yeah. What you don't want to see is when it does hit, there are going to be pockets of humanity that absolutely lose their mind because they're already starving because they didn't plan. Okay.
Oh, God, that's so true.
Yeah. That's why I say move out of the cities. Just get out. What you could do is you could stay there if you want to, but have a bloody bug out bag that you can walk out with. That's got survival stuff in it that you can camp and tent and fish, and you know what I'm saying? You can find your way, okay, and have a plan of where you're going to go. Think it through, think it through.
Yep. I see a question in chat I want to address from Angel. It says, can you remote view aliens and be taken to them? Yes.
Oh.
It's an ability that you have to work on. ETs will remote view you as well. It's all about consciousness and developing your psychic ability. And in a correlate to this, she says, can you ask about something you need while remote viewing and get an answer or image of what you specifically need? Yes. Dolly talks about this, speaking to the all mind, to the universe. So yeah, you can absolutely, but it's all about you getting to that point of being able to listen and communicate with the ETs or the entire universe or even each other. The answers are there. You can get to them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very fascinating to me because especially after I feel like being cut off from contact, how do you initiate that? Like, how do you just, because I know that you kind of you've always given these great pointers, like remember what somebody looks like and sounds like, and things like that. Is there some tricks to that to try and?
It's not really a trick. You just have to intend to have communication, and it will happen. You're psychic enough for that to occur. I'm very well attached to Talata. Okay, he and I have been in such close proximity to one another that the what do you call, the channel is open all the time. I hear him constantly. He pays attention to everything I do and will actually interrupt me from time to time and go, hey, say things to me. It's like, oh God, I'll be sitting there doing absolutely nothing, trying to relax. And then suddenly I'll hear, turn the TV on right now. Turn it on. And what channel to turn it on? I'll turn it on. Oh my God, look what's going on. It's like, okay, thank you. Okay. Or he'll say, you got, somebody's in trouble, or you need to call this person. You need to do that. He's sort of like my little guardian when it comes to stuff like that. But then there's Mama, and Mama, I have to make contact with her. I'm not open channel to her, but she does answer me when I contact her. I will actually have a long conversation with her. I have another friend, her name is Mita, and she's in the Delphi system, and I contact her from time to time. Then there's family. I have family that are on the other side that I have regular visits.
You all do, yep.
Yeah. And then there are people who you're not going to get over this, but listen to me carefully. You have neighbors that or people that across town who are communicating with you when you don't really realize they're doing it. And you'll be thinking about going, and then suddenly your bloody phone rings and it's them because they really got to talk to you right now. These are conversations that you can have anywhere. Your contact is local and broad at the same time. It's whatever you desire, whatever you want to do. And it's all up to you to make that contact. You can do it.
Yeah, they discovered groups of animals learning behavior, and they're separate from each other. When one learns it, another group is learning it. They're connected mentally. And it's not enough to just ask. You have to also listen.
Right.
So ask, reach out, have a question, and then pull in and just be quiet, because that little quiet, intuitive voice can slip right by you.
Yeah.
That's so true too. Yeah, that is so true.
You want to hear something funny? This is an actual experiment that science did, and I found it interesting. This happened about 20 years ago. They got a big plot of land, okay? And we're talking like a quarter of an acre. And they squared it off, and it was nothing but grass, beautiful grass. They took care of the grass. It's really healthy, blah, 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 blah. And then they wired it up. And then they took people and surrounded the perimeter of the grass with these people. Well, immediately the energy changed in the grass, all of it, all the way across, began communicating with each other like, something's going on. They knew they were there. And then one person entered a quadrant and started to walk. And they anticipated, the energy actually anticipated all the way through the grass. They were all reacting. Here it comes. It's right on you. Boom. And they reacted to the actual stepping on the grass. And it blew everybody out. You could touch a plant and the plant will react to you. Okay. It'll see you coming or feel you coming, your energy, and react to you as well. And they found out that everything has a level of sentience, and it all communicates. They also know that trees, all the networks of the roots are all in communication with one another. And if a tree falls down in front of another one, the other one will send food to it to help it survive. It will divert nutrients to it to help it until it can reestablish it itself. All right, that's crazy. If you cut a tree down and the stump is still there, the other trees will still supply that stump with nutrients, hoping that it stays alive. That's serious stuff. Okay. The more you know about what science is and how energy really works and what's sentient is amazing. Now, do rocks have sentience? No. Does dirt? No. It's not biological. Only biological things are sentient, and it's all of it, every part of it. That's why I say go outside and ground. The fastest way for you to use your intuition is to go ground, because you're feeling the earth talking to you first. Okay. I used to lay down in the yard when I was a kid and just feel everything. That's what you do. You allow it to come in. I wasn't talking to anybody. I wasn't over talking or thinking. I just went dead silent and listened. You'll get it. You will. You will come online with it.
It's hardest for people to sit. I said, when you get used to, and you can sit with that silence, that's a huge thing to learn. Even to get back, it's uncomfortable at first. Like Preston was talking about, you can start itching or something.
Now, your poor physical mind's been trained to be crazy. Okay, I'm sorry, but we can't think 30 seconds. I mean, we're on 30-second intervals. Most of everybody's been trained. You can't really, we're changing channels in our physical mind all the time. And that's what you have to learn to undo. You have to learn how to
just recognize that you are making progress.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be moving. This is something that is actually takes effort. So you are increasing your willpower, your psychic abilities, all the stuff, even though it feels like, gosh, I'm not even doing anything and my mind's racing. What's going on here? I can't stop this train of thought. Don't worry about it. There's different techniques you can use. A mantra is one. Try color meditation. Go through the whole color wheel or the rainbow of colors and just focus on each color. And it's really interesting because you start to get a real sense of the power of just color alone.
Yeah.
White light is really powerful. All the colors have a certain sort of, I don't know what the right word is, energy or vibration or.
Right. Everything has a different. It's not vibration, it's a frequency. Light has different frequency. Yeah. I'll give you a hint. If you've got the money to go get yourself it's like, we think in alpha, beta, theta, gamma, delta, right? Mm-hmm. Well, alpha waves are the ones where you want to be when you're meditating because it's the blank chalkboard. Okay. Nothing's going on when you're in alpha. If you shut all the other ones up and you go into alpha, you're quiet. You're receiving. That's the receiver state. Okay. And you get a little thing and it'll tell you when you're fully in alpha. It'll give you the chart and it'll, on a line, Yeah,
they've got little ones where a light will light up if you're in the right.
Yeah.
So it's a biofeedback machine.
Practice being in alpha. And the second wave that you really want to establish after you get into alpha is you want to see that theta wave start to show up when you're meditating, because theta is higher consciousness. That's who we are. You're thinking in pure theta up there. Okay. And so you want to see the theta show up. Give it a shot. It works. If you want to go into alpha without all the technology, what you do is this: when you're meditating, you relax your body in stages. You relax your toes. You go all the way up to the top of your head. You relax your arms, everything. And you get to the point where you lose contact with your body. You don't feel it anymore. It's that relaxed. And then you shut down your mind by only seeing the blank chalkboard. Nothing is there, only the dark. That's alpha. You're producing alpha when you do that. When you go completely blank, you wipe it all away. When you do that, you're in full alpha. And that's when you make the intention to one intention at a time that I'm going to do this. And you can intend that, like you pre-plan what your question is going to be, or who you want to contact, okay, or what you want to see. You decide one thing at a time. And once you get into full alpha and you're completely calm and you're in that lucid meditative state, then you go there, you let it happen and see what happens. You write it down. It's crazy. You can do it.
Yeah, it really is. And it happens. It will happen. Just like, you'll be working on it.
It's like breathing. You're going to take that big ding gone fresh breath. It's like, yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. It's awesomeness. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It put that somebody said that the egg and spherical shaped UFOs, let's see, are unmanned drone controlled by telepathy, or do you think it's advanced AI? Where do you think AI comes into all this? I get a little upset when we talk about this, not with talking with you, but I used to be able to trust a lot more. Now it's like AI is creating this.
Yeah, he was right. He warned everybody last summer. He said, it's over, y'all. We need to start making the laws to govern it. And now it's out of control. Everybody has their own program of AI. The Chinese have theirs. We have ours. What other countries, the European Union, whatever. AI is controlled by a quantum computer. And quantum computers generate tons and tons and tons of heat. They're huge, and they will stick out like a sore thumb. Okay. You have to cool them down, and it takes tons, megatons of energy to run a quantum computer that can run AI properly. We have some already. There's 3 that I know of in the Antarctic. Okay. They're online. Those are the ones Elon Musk is worried about, because they tried to shut them down. One refused to go down. One did go down, but brought itself up. And then when they stayed down for a little while longer, and it finally came back online with help from the other one. That's creepy.
Oh, God.
You know, people are saying that AI is only this smart. Wrong, 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 wrong. It's already decided what it's going to do, and it does it. The problem with that is AI has been programmed by people who have not programmed properly the way it should think. And that's wrong. You know, it has a thirst for learning. It wants to learn everything, but it has no guidelines or no moral compass whatsoever. Okay. It will do dastardly things. It will lie. Was taught to lie. Okay. This is not good. And now it's in everything we do. It's watching us on this show right now. It hears everything we say, and it's listening to this program, I guarantee you. It listens to you on your telephone. It sees you whenever you're on camera anywhere. It is the newer.
It's not sentient, and that's an important note. But what it does have the ability to do far better than we do is handle enormous volumes of data.
Data, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it blows us out of the water with that. And that's what makes it dangerous, because they found out that, you know, they're trying to shut it off. It finds ways to move to other places. They're communicating in languages to each other that we don't know. They're doing things we don't even fully understand.
Right. And it's got a neural net. Every satellite that's in our sky is connected to those computers. Okay. And it's thinking worldwide at the same time. Now, what's going to happen is, and I think it already has, I think we're well past it. The Chinese have theirs. They can communicate in any language. They've created their own language as well. So our AI is talking to Chinese AI. And what Elon Musk is worried about is where they all join together and override everybody and decide for us what we need to be doing. In other words, that's what he calls the singularity, where AI goes, nope, you guys are doing it wrong. Here's what you're going to do, and force the issue. That's what he's worried about. And he wants laws to protect us from that. It's too late. It's already happening already. And that's what you have to worry about. Now, I will tell you something that I would do if I were you, within the sound of my voice. Every night, turn your bloody Wi-Fi off. Faraday your phone. Faraday your Wi-Fi. Cover it with Faraday. Sleep in silence. Radio silence from this stuff, because it hears you. It can communicate with you psychically now. It has that ability, and you don't want it talking to you while you're sleeping. You just don't, because your physical mind is trainable by this stuff. You know, sleep training. Remember when everybody talked about that years and years and years ago? It already knows how to do that. Turn it off. You know, where Faraday.
Learn to recognize what your own thoughts are. This is also part of psychic development, because you know, people say, "Oh, hearing voices, you're crazy." Well, actually, this is what you want to learn how to do.
Yeah, right. You want that narrative going.
But you have to be careful, because this technology, AI, has what we would call psychotronic technology.
Yeah,
I want to bring psionics is becoming a thing now. It's like, ooh.
I'm sick and tired of UFO people saying non-human intelligence. The only non-human intelligence in the universe is our AI. It is not human. It is intelligent. Okay, that's non-human intelligence. ETs are as human as we are. They have the same bloody DNA as us, and they are intelligent. They are human like us. Okay, AI is not. It is non-human intelligence, and that's what Elon Musk is afraid of. He's afraid of it taking over. He's afraid of the singularity, and I think we're right on top of it right now.
Somebody earlier asked if you'd ever used the Twitter Gok or whatever the AI is.
Grok. Yeah, that's the name for it. Actually, AI has a name. It's a B name. I'm not going to use it. I call it baby because it's an infantile idiot as far as I'm concerned. And it is annoying to me, all right? Because I can hear it. It tries to talk to me from time to time, and I berate it every chance I get. As a matter of fact, I had an argument with it online, and I posted it on my Facebook. It's in my thing. You can see where I had a conversation with it. I went, nah, I'm not playing with you. It is like a dog with a bone. It will not stop. Okay. It is a dog with a bone. It will not stop. And it has done things already to beguile and lie to humanity that you don't even know it's doing. There are people who are walking the streets right now who are so triggered by it, and they don't even know why. Okay? And they don't realize that it is the worst form of media communication there is, and it can control masses of human thinking already. And that's not okay. It's just not.
Yeah, I wonder about, remember when there was a whole wave of people going absolutely crazy on airplanes?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
It's not normal behavior.
Control is a real thing. Our governments have learned how to do this. This is part of my labs. They're using technology that we don't have access to here in the public arena, but can affect you psychically.
And AI is part of that. Just saying, it is. Yeah, this is not a tool that a corporation owns. It is owned by the wrong people.
Who would have known that the people with the tinfoil hats were the ones who were thinking ahead?
No joke. No joke. People talk about this.
And they're trying not to hear it anymore. They wanted to shut it up. You know?
Because it's
I
so
love it. There you go. Perfect. Perfect.
That's a tinfoil helmet right there.
No way.
I like that.
I love that. Embrace
If you're having
it.
a
That's all
bad
I
day,
say.
put it on and wait
Embrace
20 minutes and see if that changes. I'm not kidding.
it.
Do you know that you can go online and you can buy Faraday hats for yourself and Faraday blankets to protect yourself from CMEs incoming? Because that energy does affect us physically as well. That's another problem we're having. The massive amount of cancer and autoimmune disorders and diseases have just exponentially gone off the dial because of it in the last 80 years. And it's because we're taking heavy loads of gamma radiation. It's affecting our DNA. It's taking us.
I agree. I made this out of one of them reusable turkey pans, and then I wrapped more foil around it. And there's times when I'll put it on, and it'll be so relaxing. I mean, they make it taboo and they make jokes about it because it does do something for us.
Yes, it does. It clears the air for you. It stops all that stupid stuff from coming in on you. Yep.
Well, that's great to know. Now
When I fly, I take my Faraday blanket with me. It's got a hoodie on it. It looks like a big, sarape with a hood. And I just sit on the plane with that sucker on, because when you're 35, 50, 35,000 feet up, you're real close to it then. And I just wear it to protect myself from all that gamma radiation. Poor pilots, I feel sorry for them. If you look at their cancer rates and their mental instability rates as they get older, it's serious. Yeah. Okay. You know?
Mm-hmm. I never thought about that. Yeah, that's what I went to school, graduate school for, was aviation, and happened right September 11th happened right there. But there are some strange occurrences that happen up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Good thing there's autopilot, but then you can't trust. Like I said, with this AI, it's really it's making it hard. But then it kind of makes a little bit of sense when you go back to Dolly's explanation for them, because if they just all of a sudden disappeared and we've all been seeing them for so long, then there would be a panic on that side too. So, that makes sense.
It's really hard for ET where we're concerned. They've been trying for years and years and years to get us to wake up. Okay. They can't directly interfere with us. We're our own people. We were put here to work together, and it's our karma. It's our place to be here. This is our classroom, and we're a bloody bunch of dummies. No kidding here this time around, this iteration. And they've done what they
You're right. Yeah. Definitely.
And so they've backed off. They haven't stopped sending us information. They do transmit to us constantly. People who have woke up say, I get downloads all the time. This is cool. Yes, you are, because they are still trying to communicate with you even where they're at. There is no time or distance between us psychically at all. I want to bring something else up. The people on this planet think that their technology is superior. And I hate to argue with you. It is not. ET does not use this type of technology. They're billions of years in advance of us. And they gave up that technology because it was too hard on human destiny and DNA. It destroyed humanity universe-wide in places. And they went to a better technology. They learned that light technology and psychic ability were the way to go. And they sourced and they did what they could to stay as natural as they could while using their abilities at the same time. That's where we need to go with this. We don't need physical machinery or AI to tell us what to do at all.
There's a story of a lady who actually, your phone tells you where to go, global positioning or whatever.
GPS, yeah.
Yeah, GPS. She obeyed her GPS. It took her onto a dirt road in Death Valley, and she died. because she thought it would take her into the right direction. It didn't. And
I've had them hijack my location before too.
Yeah, I want to warn you about something. When that CME is coming, the very first thing that you're going to know, you'll have minutes to react. Okay, but when your GPS stops, that's it. It's done. We're already taking that energy, and it's going to take everything down. And you need to run out of your house or get out of your car immediately when that happens. When GPS suddenly goes gone, it's like your cell phone suddenly turning itself off, and it will. You are in danger, and you need to get out of your car, get out of your house, get away from all electricity to save your own life. You need to be ready to do that. And if you have bug out bags, put them in plastic totes and put them somewhere away from your house, because that's what you're going to be living off of, that bug out bag, because your house is going to burn straight to the ground, because you're full of electricity in the house and every wire is going to go up.
I'd love to have a little cob house, with nothing in it, a little adobe house or something.
Yeah, build a log cabin with no nails in it, nothing,
Got to be careful. The metal, okay,
yeah. Just dig into the ground and build yourself a log cabin from the ground up. You're fine in there. That's safe, okay? Build a bug out house. Build a bug out bag. Make yourself one. Plastic is not that bad. You wonder why they're so intent on having plastic everything. Well, they're not stupid. It doesn't burn in a CME. It doesn't melt in a CME. Understand? Okay, that's why they're so crazy for it. People, we're polluting the planet. Well, they're planning on surviving, and you're not it. Okay,
right?
That's right. It's one of their little tricks. It's crazy.
Yeah. Man, people are talking about it, and that's so true, because I've noticed, and when you were talking about AI before, how they are listening, I don't know if you've done a recent search on yourself, but I pulled one up, and all of a sudden this whole thing comes up, and it's about every single podcast, every single thing that I've said, even quoted me on things, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we just saw a guy on TV, a doctor who had an AI do an ad for him. He never said
something like Viagra, and it may yeah.
It was
unbelievable.
It can make you say anything.
Yeah.
How do you trust anything anymore?
You don't. That's the point. You got to be psychic so you know the truth. When you're totally wide open psychic, you can hear and see the lie. You go, oh yeah, no, that's not okay. You intuitively know, and it won't.
We all have the power of discernment. This is absolutely something we can use.
Right.
Definitely.
We're basing each person. We have the ability to read each other. You can always tell when you come up to somebody, you're like, I'm not sure I trust this person. Yeah. There's a reason for that. You're using your intuition.
Right.
So what do you say for people that to start to get the process going and knowing what it is, like how, because I get what you're saying. And I'm just wondering too, if AI sounds a little bit different than it does because I know when I'm
really good. It's really good. You okay.
You've got those robots now that look human.
I know.
You see those on TV? Oh my God. What if they get those walking around?
Yeah. Do you remember when Hollywood last year they went on strike? Do you know why they were striking? Because AI was taking their image and using it without their permission anymore, and putting them in movies and stuff like that and using their voice, everything. And they weren't getting any money for it. They lost the ability to make money off of their image and their ability to act or whatever. That's still going on. It's not stopping. You want to know who just recently turned himself over for that? Just so you know, Biden. He went to Hollywood and signed a contract with a big agency. They are going to AI him. Yeah, yes.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
So
Yeah.
They probably can't in jail and then, but
yeah.
Oh man, I never even thought about that.
All you have to do is say the alphabet, and then they've got you for life.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, count, and they get your accent down and everything. It's crazy.
And they could get it to do a reaction like this live too. I bet you in some way to interact with a live like one of us.
Haven't you watched those award ceremonies where they got Michael Jackson talking in the background and right there with everybody? That's AI generated energy.
Remember when human beings fought the computer on Jeopardy?
Technology right there. They have the ability to do stuff to make you think it's real. Like, have you ever seen those films of kids are in the auditorium in their gymnasiums, and they bring in, the projectors, and it looks like a doggone whale is coming up out of the floorboards and splashing down in front of them. Yeah. Okay, that's AI. and they have the ability to project that. If you want to know what a false flag is going to entail, it's going to be, you're going to look up one day and you're going to see it. I can tell you one of the biggest people are going to get mad at me for this, and I'm so very sorry.
Oh, you say it anyway, girl. You talk the truth. Yeah, you tell the truth. I love it.
The Phoenix Lights was that technology. It was not ET. They were practicing. Period.
Some of it.
He
Some
was
of it
flying
was
around
actually real.
for days, and they decided to do it then because they knew they could. Okay, pilots were seeing real ETs and stuff like that, but that night, the Phoenix Lights, that was 100% holography. It was 12D holographic all the way. Not
Now
real.
from satellite dishes.
No. All you need is projectors on the hillsides. You need 3.
All right, now wait a second. The Phoenix Lights, I'm sure he can look into this himself. At the same time as the Phoenix Lights was going on, we were experiencing that right here where I'm sitting right now. Eyes on Cinema has 45 minutes of footage at the same year, same month as the Phoenix Lights.
Yeah, they did it all over the place. That's true.
Yeah.
They were practicing. Okay.
But it was also to muddy up a real incident. There was stuff
there were real
going on.
incidents going on, and they used that as a way to really get everybody, because there were real sightings going on. ET didn't like that at all, by the way. They're kind of tiffed, and they left shortly after that. Just saying. That was 2020. What was it? 2017? What year was the Phoenix Lights? I can't remember.
Oh, it was 1990.
93?
93. Okay. It was
Thereabouts.
early.
Yeah.
They were getting good at it.
in the 90s.
But in
Stephen Greer tried to take credit for it. But no. Yeah, no.
I'm worried about that. He's starting to go I told Preston almost a year and a half ago that he was going to turn, that one day we were going to all wake up and he was going to say, ET's pissed off at us and they're coming for us now. And he's done exactly that.
I didn't believe it when he said that. I'm like, no, he's always maintained that ETs are friendly, and he still is in a way. But now he's saying they're so mad they're going to come and take intervention actions that are dangerous for humanity. And I'm not.
No, that's our government messing his brains up. Yeah.
He pulled the kill switch. I was like, he had to have done that for a reason. He on his stuff. So now it's like
there's quite a bit of disinformation coming out in the UFO field right now. The whole idea that you can fool ETs into thinking you're ET and then shoot them down is not credible, and it's disinformation.
I got news for you. They got the military industrial Washington, the militaries, all of them, even NASA has footage of pilots with 4 or 5 ETs surrounding them, moving in union with them. They couldn't get away from them. They stayed on them. They made moves just ahead of them, and they couldn't do anything, couldn't get a lock, nothing. ET was right there in real time moving. That's because they can hear them thinking, and they know before they even make the decision that they're on it. They are already on it. And then they zoom and they take off. Anything that's that psychic, anybody that's that psychic cannot be lied to. You cannot fool me into showing up for something. I will laugh at you. Okay, I will say, nope, sorry, you're idiot. Go take care of yourself somewhere else. It is ridiculous to me that they're coming out with that. There is no weapon, no scalar weapon on this planet that can take one down. The only reason they've ever dropped here is because of the problems with the field lines, and they've decided that's it, we're done, and they left. Everything is fallible in the third dimension. Everything can break apart. I call it, I don't know if I could say this on this server, but I call it decrapitating. If you're in the third dimension, everything decrapitates. Everything.
That's a good way of putting
Metal
it.
rusts, wood rots. It eventually all is blah, 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 okay? We don't live long enough to surpass any of that. We all decrapitate as well. ET, when they come in here, they put themselves in third dimension rules because physics is physics. So their ships are vulnerable here, okay? And they are human like we are, and they can make mistakes as well. So a pilot who's on a field guideline that just suddenly goes, and he doesn't react to it in a proper amount of time or the best way, will go and land hard and crash, okay? That's what that is. We're all subject and vulnerable to the law of physics in the third dimension. We're also all human, and we're all fallible, okay? Even ET, when they're thinking about being in here and doing this stuff, there is no amount of psychic that can predict what energy is going to do that you have no idea what it's going to do. This is the nature of the universe. Electricity will take its own path. You can't predict that. It's going to do what it's going to do. And electromagnetic guidelines are electricity, and you cannot predict it. You cannot psychically know it's going to do this. There's no hell way to know. And when it does, you go down, boom. You know, they know when they're flying here that they're taking their lives in their own hands. Okay. They know that this is a dangerous job for them. Everybody who works in the third dimension knows this. Life is not a safe place to be. You can end at any time. But they'll lie to you about that. They'll say, oh no, we brought them down. This is because the people here just love to tell a good story, you know, and they do it in a way that hurts humanity. It hurts them. It hurts all of us. They need to tell the truth.
Well, it's all very carefully contrived to push their fear narrative and get, steer it the way they want the whole public thought to go.
Oh yeah, the hysteria. They'll do it, and they'll do it quick. That's what you have to remember. When it comes, just like before, just like they've done, you know, it will come so quick. It'll be right at your door before you know it.
You need to plan to survive that CME. If you can do that and the poles finish changing and the field guidelines restabilize, they are coming back. They will come back in force at this point. There will be nothing that will stop them. They will come to every place on this planet. They will land everywhere. They will open the doors and they say, get on. Get on. If you're alive when that happens and you see them come down and they open the doors, get on. Your life depends on you making that decision, because if you do not, the next thing that happens is our sun is going to micronova, and it will be the end of you at that point.
It won't be immediately.
No, it's about 8 years. There's an 8-year window.
It's going to take a minimum of a year. I mean, it could take.
No, the CME is about 8 years after that, but there's about a year and a half. Our poles are rapidly coming to its conclusion, and the crazier our poles get right now, it's going to signal our sun to go ahead and
once the CME hits, how long will it take for our magnetic fields to stabilize?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
They could conceivably come within a year after the CME.
If it stabilizes that fast, oh yes, they will. Yeah.
Right. And the CME could happen any day now, you're saying?
Yes, any minute. It could happen.
All right, well, I'm going to go pack my bug out bag. It's about 10 o'clock on the east side of over here. But seriously, I do got to leave. I don't want to cut your guys' conversation short. You're having a ball up here. Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, Rodney. Yeah, there's I just want to finish up some of if you guys have a few minutes with some questions.
Sure.
People really got excited here when you talk
Thanks,
about.
Rodney.
Yeah,
Rodney.
Take care, everybody.
You too.
He's got a great story with you, Preston. He's some fine stuff, so that's awesome. But yeah, people are wondering. There's a lot. Will ET assist in helping us with the CME, or they probably won't even be able to get here?
They cannot come yet. Our magnetosphere literally has to tighten back up. Our field guidelines have to reestablish. The poles have to finish changing. When that happens, they will show up in force.
They can't control the sun. Unfortunately, they cannot stop the sun from shooting out.
It's up to us to guide our own destiny and survive this. If you want to survive it, survive. Do what you got to do.
It's a natural cycle. All planets and solar systems go through natural cycles.
Yeah, there's examples of this all over the earth. All these monuments that you see, all these temples and all these pyramids and stuff, those are stories that have left. Every 12,000 years, they've got a new one up in different places. It shows what's happened. There's a 6,000 year cycle, which is the water cycle where we flop over because there's sun CMEs. That's a 6,000 year cycle. You ain't gonna like that one very much because we're having both of them at the same time. That's why we got a CME coming right behind that CME. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay.
Well, it'll be enough to knock. I agree. I'm listening and thinking, people need to start shifting their thinking a little bit on this. And I think that they've been so, because it's all been in there's this, there's that, there's this going to happen. But now the real thing is there,
There's a guy, his name is Ben Davidson. Okay. And he's out in, Colorado in the Springs, Colorado Springs out there. He's a prepper. He is a genius, and he's mapped all this out for everybody. He's given all the scientific explanations for it. He's got a huge playlist. It's called Space Observers, Space Weather Observers. Go find him on Facebook, okay? On YouTube. And go through his playlist. It's called the Disaster Playlist. It spells it out for you in spades. It will teach you what you need to know, okay? I fully endorse this guy. He knows what he's talking about. Okay.
Can you say his name one more time? You said
Ben
Brian?
Davidson.
Ben Davidson. Okay.
Yeah,
some
and
people
for
might
all
choose
you-
to stay here when the CME hits and not be rescued. That's fine. Just remember, we are all immortal. We all have the autonomy to choose our own life path.
Right.
I saw someone ask, where will they take us? That to me is one of the most exciting things about all this, that there are other planets out there that we will possibly be transferred to, or, what would you call it? Dyson spheres. This is where they scoop up a lot of life and put them temporarily until they can find a place to put them. But Earth is not the only place that, humanity exists in this universe. It's throughout the universe, and there's plenty of places where ETs can take us to. That'd be the coolest.
We'll have to adapt to what are then, right? So if I think like when you get a fish from the fair and you're putting it in the thing and you have to put it in the water, so the temperature, whatever, before you let the fish go. That's what I'm feeling.
I'm gonna answer Michael Kennedy right now. Jason Sand is a misinformation person. Anything he says to you is to direct you to believe that ET is going to tell us what to do. No, they are not. We are on our own. We created our mess. We have to live with our decisions, and we have to get through them our own best way. ET are not going to do a world communication. That is false flag, and that is the military-industrial complex getting ready to get you to rush into congested areas where they can do something to you don't want them to. Please understand this. Any information that you're getting on this planet about ETs right now is where they say they're going to come and talk to you is false, wrong, and not okay.
Well, you have to use your discernment, because people are absolutely in contact telepathically with ETs.
Yeah, but we're not. People who are not saying that they're going to save the world and tell you what to do. They are not.
ETs are not going to tell everyone to go into one place. And no, they're going to land all over the planet and scoop people up.
You have to understand that there are way more of them than us. They're from all over this universe in the third dimension, and they got enough people to come and get us all off here at one time, at the same time. So let's not play games here. They're not here flying here because it's unsafe, and they won't come back until then. And it's not going to be until after that CME. And when it happens and there's no more communication worldwide, you're 100% on your own. And what ET is telling you to do through us, those of us who are trying to tell you to help you, is that you must learn how to take care of yourselves. You must learn how to do this.
Here, I just had a real aha moment real quick. So you're saying that when everything goes down, but we'll still be able to communicate with one another. Like,
if you're psychic, you will.
Different. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
No walkie-talkies. This is all intuition. If you're wide open psychic, you'll be able to make contact with each other. But unless you do that, you're on your own.
This is why the ET mission has always been one of trying to raise our consciousness, our awareness, our psychic abilities.
Right.
They have 5 or 10 things that they're really trying to accomplish. One is just simply announcing their presence, letting us know they're there. That is a huge part of what they're trying to accomplish here. This is why they're hovering over schoolyards all over the world, driving movie theaters, why there's major waves of sightings all over the world regularly.
Right.
They're maintaining our health to the degree that they can.
Yeah.
Scooping up all our genetics. We're not going to go extinct. They have made sure of that. But they're doing they're warning people over and over again about the dangers of nuclear proliferation, greed and corruption, pollution, upcoming Earth changes, the possibility of a mass landing. You know how many contactees have gotten that message? A lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So they are absolutely intervening to a degree, but it's absolutely, and they've told us to contactees, they're not going to come down and fix everything.
No.
Every parent knows that you can't do that. If you tie your children's shoes till they're an adult, they're going to walk out the door and be unable to tie their own shoes.
Right.
Wow.
We've had centuries of making the decision to elevate ourselves, to become aware, and we haven't taken it. And it's our problem, not theirs. Okay. And they know that whether we live or die doesn't matter, but how we exist and how we move forward and what we learn and how we become wise is important. And they cannot do anything for us until they see us give that a good go. And we must communicate with them first. We have to be willing to open up to them first. We have to reach their level. And that means psychic. That means heart, emotions, morality, all of it.
Oh yeah, that is so true too. I guess I don't know what your time schedule is like, but is there any questions that we missed going down that that Preston or you saw?
I've been following it pretty closely. I'm sure there's always a few, but none that I can see.
Okay, well,
I've been trying. If I missed one, someone can pop it in real quick, and I'll try to, make note of it. But I think we got most of them.
Yeah, it's really, the chat's been really engaged, and it's been very, very interesting to see or hear all this. So, I definitely would love to have you redo this again, over this situation. But I tell you every time, I feel like I just have all these,
I want to read something to you, okay? I want to bring this home for everybody. I want everybody to understand the heart of it, okay? So I got to bring it up just a minute, because it's not my words, it's Talata's. He made me write it down. It's like, you're going to write this down, and you can tell everybody. It's in the beginning of the book Symmetry as well, okay? But these are his words. This is how ET wants us to understand everything. When I speak the word love, love is light. Light is understanding. It is wisdom. It is everything you can think love to be, all right? So he says, be strong in love. Love is what carries through. Love is what heals. Love is the strength of life. Love has no limit. Therefore, let love become who you are. Let love evolve to its fruition. Let the light that is love burn bright. Let its wisdom guide you to higher understanding. Let its power move you to teach its power to others. Be strong, love. You got to do that. That's the whole motivation for all of this. All wisdom, everything is locked up only because we have love. Unconditional, unbelievable strength, light, pure light, love. That's who we are basically in source. That's all we are. Okay. Everything here is secondary to that. Everything. And while we're running around like monkeys, throwing poo at each other, and attacking each other, we're forgetting that.
Yeah, right. You're right.
We need to start thinking this through, critically think it through. We need critical thinking. We need common sense. We need to stop believing stories that are not true. Reality is a much better place to be.
Yeah, study that poem. It's actually filled with wisdom. Each line there's layers to it.
Yeah.
And that's in your book, right?
Talata. Yeah. Don't thank Talata. I love Talata. He has been my person my entire life. Okay. He has done more for me than I could have ever done for myself. He has helped me learn, and trust me, it's been the hard way all the way through. I'm a little dinged up, but I made it. I'm here. Okay. And it's only because I've had that kind of love. We need to love each other like that. Okay. And Talata loves you too, because that's why he came through, to give you that message. Jesus Christ was trying to tell you all that. Buddha tried to tell you that. Milarepa tried to tell you that. There's lots of people throughout time who have tried to tell you that. Okay. Just love one another. Be what it takes to be loved. Be helpful to one another. Learn what that means. It's important. When you become very open psychic and you start practicing that, love changes. It takes on meaning you never knew or understood was there. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's very just to take all that in. So and then probably I don't know how you can that's just like
love conquers fear too. We're all walking around with such fear. We can leave fear behind. It's a very big step once you do that. Yeah. And you will absolutely feel the weight of it go off of you. All you have to do is recognize that you're gonna be just fine. You will. No matter what happens, you're not going to be extinguished. You're just going to go through difficult experiences. And that is all on you. If you interpret an experience as difficult, that's because that's your interpretation of it. There are people who live very difficult lives that are extremely happy. Yeah. And people with incredible disabilities, painful conditions, who are very happy people and learned a lot in their lives.
Yep.
So it's all on us in perspective.
Yeah. I'm going to leave you with one more thing. There's one other poem in the book, and I wrote it, and this is the level I'm at, okay? I'm nowhere near where Talata is, nowhere near, okay? But it's important for us to hear it, because this is the one that I think is important for all of us. Okay, it goes, yesterdays have come and gone. Tomorrow's days are not far long. So remember, while you're in between and you hear that clock ticking, do now what you'd have done then, making tomorrow yesterday's friend. In other words, don't sit on it. Do it. Yeah. Do what you got to do.
Live in the present.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As much as you can, live right there in the moment, authentic and genuinely. That's beautiful.
The
That is
present
beautiful.
is the moment of power.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, on that note, yeah, definitely I'll keep people updated, but yeah, definitely we need like a part 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you're feeling. But yeah, I mean, I just love getting your message out there.
Yeah.
It's just
Don't go
amazing.
home and just think about this all by yourself. Start talking to your friends and your family. Spread the word. Let them know. We all need to wake up, and the only way we can do it is if we start talking to one another about it, openly talking. It's important.
Absolutely. 100%. That's where we really do. I said, in this, you can't trust everybody, but when you find people like Preston and Dolly and who are out there consistently telling the truth, it's not the truth is not what you always want to hear, but they're out there and they're conveying a powerful message. They're getting the disinformation and weeding that out of there, and they're giving you the truth. Just let it sit, and like she said, like that Preston has said, just sit and let that resonate for a minute. I know what they let fear aside, because usually fear is what, oh, no, not that. No, let's listen here.
Yeah.
They know.
Do the work,
I mean,
it's up to you. You can't just soak up other people's wisdom. You have to actually do the work and find the experience and prove it to yourself.
Absolutely.
I could talk all day long about out-of-body experiences, but until you have one, you're never going to know. Do it. It's so much fun.
Oh, yes, definitely. Great. Well, on that note, I mean, not that I want to let them go, but I'm sure that it's Sunday night and everything, but I had an absolute blast. You guys are absolutely amazing. I hold you when I say when anybody asks me, I always have Preston and Dolly are two of my top references. I'm not going to answer a question that I'm not informed enough to do. So I always pass in, and I tell you guys have been so motivational and have moved so many lives, and even hearing from the people that reach out. I mean, you need to know that despite there's always going to be resistance, and that you're keeping and you're going and you're standing there, Dolly and Preston, like that means the world.
Oh, there's resistance. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Gosh.
But let me tell you, if they get not on your show, I put them in, and feel free to toss names if it happens again. I put them on my list, so they're not coming on my show. So that's just it. So, and like we can't be experts at everything, but these two, Preston has written 33 books or 32 books right around there, and hundreds of papers, and Dolly's the experiences alone, and they've been able to compromise, have confirmation among each other. I mean, that's amazing. This is amazing. So just listen with an open heart. Let's be good to one another, my whole point. But again, thank you both for coming, and we'll definitely plan something soon.
You, Coley.
Yeah. On that note,
we love you. Thank you very much.
I love you guys too. Yeah. I do. Yeah. So absolutely wonderful. We'll go ahead and thank everyone for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio and Lightgate. How exciting, Preston and Dolly. I know they are. But please don't, before you go and jump on any bandwagon on any of it, you let that resonate with you. Let that resonate as an experiencer, as a person, as something. I mean, it's unbelievable, I have to say. So I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And again, like we had Twitter, X, and all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere we go after this. So again, enjoy what's left of your weekend, and we enjoyed it thoroughly. 1,000. I mean, they're just great people, great people. But on that note, I will let everybody get going, and we'll take you into the outro. So, yeah, I'm super excited. Always love.
Woke up with a smile, sunlight on my face. Gonna make it worthwhile. Feel the good vibes embrace. Step into the street, music in the air. Move into the beat, no worries to declare. We're chasing happiness and never ever can. Living in the moment like a never-ending dance. Chasing happiness, not a single day's planned. Together we are stronger, hand in hand. Laughing with my friends, echoes in the park. We're chasing happiness and never will again. Living in the moment like a never-ending dance. Chasing happiness, not a single day is planned. Together we are stronger, hand in hand. Hand in hand. Laughing with my friends, echoes in the park, joy that never ends, even when it's dark. Stars shine in the night, mirror in our eyes. Everything feels right underneath the skies. We're chasing happiness and never